Hello and welcome to the Video Game Dads podcast. This is episode Sweet 16.
Sweet 16? I'm
Yay.
getting my car?
Yeah. You're going to wreck it and then call your parents.
I'm upset because it's the wrong color.
What's the wrong color?
My car, my new car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I wanted a brown car, and I got a white one.
Why did you want a brown car? How old are you?
I don't know, 16.
and what? They didn't make a brown car.
They didn't make a brown car. Brown was not a good color choice.
Yeah, I get it.
But there's a famous episode of that Sweet 16 show that they made a bunch of memes out of. A little 16-year-old girl crying because she got the wrong color Mercedes.
Oh my gosh. Hey, so this is the Video Game Dads podcast, where three guys in a basement talk gaming, fatherhood, and everything in between. We are your hosts. I am Ben.
And I'm Adam.
And Shane is off taking care of his daughter Lexi, who unfortunately is battling cancer, but fortunately everything's going really well. I actually hung out with him last weekend-ish.
And I've seen him a couple of times. She's a rock star. She's doing great.
She's doing great, and it was fun to go over there. We took Sebastian Bash over there and hung out with them, played some games. Man, games nowadays are really different, like board games, like Live Candyland. Well, again, like she's 4 and the kids are young, so it's like they're kind of like one game you fill a bunch of eggs with water and then smash it on your head or something.
I haven't seen this one.
But I always thought, like, what's the point of this game? I'm like, I would have loved this game as a kid. Another one's a toilet one where you stand in front of a toilet and it's like that pie face thing where you push it down and you might get shot with water or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, games are just completely different.
My toilet games are a little different than that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Our toilet games are just our only private time.
That's right. Yeah, that's when you catch up on the news.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, and then you know when to get up because your legs fall asleep.
That's right. Yeah. When you stop feeling your toes, that's when it's time to go back to reality.
And then you wake up, your legs are numb, you hit your head on the wall, you pass out, and then you do an Elvis.
Yeah.
Right?
And light a match and walk out.
Yeah. And then your son sees you and it's ingrained in his head forever.
No, unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet. Although he has the problem with having little kids running around is they have like serious boundary issues.
Oh yeah.
When if I do have to like use the restroom or anything like that, I have to padlock the place like I'm in a what are those things called, the maximum security prisons?
Oh yeah.
But I have to like bar the doors, get in there, get your private time, get the kids out.
Yeah.
Kids.
Even the dogs too.
The dogs. Yeah. Just leave me alone. I need to read the news.
Yep. So anyway, it was nice to see Shane. So Shane will be back whenever he is back, but we're holding it down. Always appreciate all the support and things on Twitter, the GoFundMe, she just did another second round of chemo, I believe, and did it like a rock star, and was able to kind of keep her. They have to like put a needle in to go through, and they were able to figure out a way to keep it accessed when she went home, which was kind of cool. So that was nice, just to save the poor little girl a little bit of stress from having to get a needle stick over and over, which isn't fun for anybody, let alone a kid. So that was good news, and she's doing great, and she's a trooper. Oh, and Shane has lost his locks.
Oh yeah, he did.
I saw him, and I think it looks so. Shane likes his like long hair, and his wife I think likes his long hair or likes his short hair. I'm not sure, but he's now like got a buzz cut, to unify with his little kiddo, his daughter.
And I don't know that I ever told you this or have said it on the podcast, but when Shane and I first met, for like the first 6 or 8 months we knew each other, I could never remember his name, and I just called him the Dude because he looked like a really young version of Jeff Bridges from the Big Lebowski, because he sort of had the long hair and he was sort of...
He wore flip-flops all the time.
He wore flip-flops all the time.
He still does. What am I saying?
And I won't use the word unkept, because he still like shampooed and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just really laid back.
Yeah. There's a bit of the Dude in there. And don't feel bad about forgetting his name. Our original Dad of the Week bit had said Sean, and it's been funny. So we used to call him Sean because he said our names right, but he was thinking about it. He's like, Adam, Ben, and Sean. And so we called Shane Sean for a good couple weeks. All right, but anyway, where can you find us, Adam?
So you can find us on Facebook.com/videogamedads. And that's also the place that you can find the GoFundMe and links to, such things and the goings on and that all the stuff.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And then our email is videogamedads@yahoo.com. Can message us with any of the video game book club picks, anything like that, questions, tips, reviews, comments, things we got wrong, your thoughts on some of the games. And then also you can tweet at us at Video Game Dads.
That's right. That's all three.
So a lot of stuff to talk about this episode. We'll always start with the video game book club, but we'll talk about our 2 games we played. We have a new Dad of the Week.
Dad of the Week!
Yeah, it's always aggressive with that, but I like it. Comes out of nowhere. Dad of the Week. And then we also have a new recommendation that some of you dads out there that like gaming or competitive gaming will give. We also have a new segment that we will introduce this episode, and we have a name for it, but we will let our listeners pick a name. And if you suggest a name here in the next couple episodes and we pick it, we're going to let you sponsor it by just mentioning who you are or what you want, or if you like Diet Coke, we'll do that. I don't know. And talk about like these new Sega phone app games. What we won't talk about, that's always talked about, is this Castlevania. Everything the last 2 weeks, people are talking about this Castlevania animated thing. Did you see it?
I've seen half of it.
Oh, okay. Dang, I was hoping you'd say no, so we could just be like, yeah, we're not going to.
No, I've seen it.
What's your quick take? So we could get it out of the way.
It's okay so far.
Okay so far? Okay, it's not that long, right? It's just 4
No,
episodes.
like they're 30-minute episodes.
Yeah,
everybody's
talking about it. I'm like, I'm happy that happens because it has to be better than the Assassin's Creed movie I talked about back in episode 5 or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, I never have been able to follow the storyline in the Castlevania games, mostly because I don't care. I mean,
yeah,
it's I don't play it for the story, I suppose. I mean, they are all interconnected and different things happen. And,
sure.
You're different members of a family, and Dracula's the bad guy and all that. But I know enough to know that I don't really want to know anymore. I just want to kill some Medusas.
Yeah,
and
it's like Weekend at Bernie's. You enjoy watching it, but boy, don't think too hard about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't need a lot of plot for like Mega Man or Castlevania or many other movies. Mario, he doesn't have plot. It's fine.
No, it's fine. Well, they tried to do that.
Don't give Mario plot. It just
John
gets
Leguizamo,
worse.
and we went through that already. Well, anyway, let's get started with our first segment, our video game book club.
Hey now kids, come gather around, see what just skipped into town. So skip it, do run, do jump, do hop, hop. Skip it, skipping and a screaming and a bop to bop. But the very best thing of all, there's a counter on this ball. So try to beat your very best score. See if you can jump a whole lot more. Skip it, come on everybody, skip it. Roaring good fun from Tiger Toys.
All right, and our video game book club this week's brought to you by Skip It.
I love Skip It.
Just kidding. I'm probably gonna now. It's made me. I'm gonna have to rip that music from YouTube, and I'll probably like put that in between it. And it's gonna confuse the heck out of people, but that's okay.
No, they played that commercial so much. Had the little counter on it.
Yeah.
Every time you went around, you got a tick on the counter.
Yeah, and so many people bid it with that thing. It's like constantly like cheating death.
Exactly, and there's a whole generation of people from the ages of 35 to 40.
Yeah.
Who now walk with a limp on one side from overuse of Skip It.
Yeah, and you have that red ring around your ankle probably. You could kind of tell it's like that person on like house arrest or something like that. It's like no, they've been playing Skip It. So our video game book club segment for those new to us is where we pick a game much like a book club and play it in between our episodes, and then also encourage you guys to play it. And then talk about it on the next episode. And we also encourage our listeners to submit things. We're not going to pick anything from the top 15%, the Mario, the Zelda, things like that. We have a game like Shadowrun, which is considered a really good game and inner circle people, but for the most part, like the average layman.
Shadow what?
Yeah, exactly.
Shadow where?
That's what they're going to say.
Shadow who?
Yeah, so Shadowrun would count as one. So really, it's just anything. It could be a game you really liked, a game that you thought you liked as a kid. Maybe you want to see if it holds up. But you can submit your suggestions, and we will add it to a randomizer and pick it. And we our 2 games we picked, one was done by me, the video game dad. I ended up picking Starfox 2 due to the release of the news about the NES Mini Classic last episode, which I'm glad, it's fun we did. And hopefully you guys found a way to, I don't know, this is good. Maybe you could skip this part if you don't want spoilers, if you're going to get the Mini Classic and play it yourself. But I was happy to replay it because I played it a while ago, like a year or 2 ago, and then I replayed it and I beat it. I played it for a good long time. So I have some fun things to say. And then we also have Shadowrun, also a listener pick, and I was really happy to play that too. So we should just get to it. Oh, yeah, and sorry, we're a week late on this episode. We kind of had some technical issues, some storms run through, and it ended up being for the best. Both of us had really long days. We do this, we record these on Thursday nights and upload them on a Monday. But it was a mixture of terrible weather, and also we both got kind of beaten alive from work that day, and we're just like, oh, man. So, but we'll make it up because we will have 2 straight weeks in a row of episodes. So we're going to do one this Monday, which is whatever it is, a 20-something at this point. What am I'm going to guess. So that's like 23rd?
24th, yeah.
Yep, and then one the following Monday to get back on track. Anywho, we will first let's talk about Starfox.
Starfox.
Yeah, so Starfox 2 was, we kind of mentioned it before, this was unreleased yet finished game, published by Nintendo, but it was also made by a second independent company, and it wasn't released due to PlayStation now coming out, the Nintendo 64 coming out within a year or something like that, and it didn't want to compete with itself, and it also felt like this thing was pushing the Super Nintendo hardware. If you thought the first Star Fox was, the second one.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Actually.
Yeah, it really does. And it's going to be interesting to play this thing for real because there's some slowdown in the version I have on a custom cart that has the Super Competition, Star Fox 1 and Star Fox 2. But that might be, the normal way it plays. I don't know. We're going to find out. That's why I'm excited.
Sure.
So
yeah, and maybe it does have the slowdown. I mean, I remember Stunt Race FX, if you've ever played that game for Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because it was really fun, but it runs at roughly 1 frame every
yeah. That's the one where
seconds.
they look like Pixar. They got eyeballs on the car.
Yeah, eyeballs on the cars. And
I own that game.
It's only half the screen, or like 3/4, 2/3 of the screen that's actually filled with animation.
Yep.
But the frame rate is still just
It's
horrendous.
pretty bad.
Yeah. That's why Star Fox to me is one of the reasons it's so impressive is because it actually looks like it's doing more than Stunt Race FX.
Yeah.
But Stunt Race FX it's really fun, but man, it chugs.
It chugs a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing to have if you're interested in that. If you're a Super Nintendo collector, it's not all that expensive. But yeah, I mean, we're just both really big fans of the original Star Fox, and it's still fun to play today. I played the heck out of it. I played the Super Weekend competition over and over trying to get a high score, and it was fun to play the second one because it is very different. It feels like a fun sequel. It's broken up really differently. So this should have came out, in like 1995?
95, yeah.
Yeah, late 95. By then, the Super Nintendo is very ancient, and you're already moving on to other consoles and other... it was kind of the Sega CD, right?
Yeah.
At that time. Mm-hmm. And
CD platforms were just getting up and running. You had your N64 on the horizon. I think at this point they were already touting the N64 and had, entire episodes of Nintendo Power devoted to it.
Yeah.
And of course PlayStation and Saturn were either out or just around, just getting ready to come out at this point. So
and people, didn't have the nostalgia for this kind of thing yet. Like when it was announced that they canceled Star Fox 2, not many people were crying about it, and it was only till late, I don't think.
Yeah, I would have cried had I known.
Yeah, had you known about it. But it's like when you're a kid and you're that age, you're like, that's okay. Something else will come out. And you're already kind of wanting to move on from the other system because the console lifespans weren't that long. So what's different about this game are a lot of things. I like that there's new ships and there's new people to the team. So the original, I'm going by memory here. So you got Star Fox.
The main character.
Yep. You got Falco, which is a hawk.
The know-it-all.
Falcon, maybe. Yeah, and he's... watch it, Fox.
Yeah, he's the straight-laced... He's Iceman.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
he is
he's
Iceman. Good,
from
good.
Top Gun, yeah.
I bet you that's how that he did that on purpose.
They
good
probably...
for you.
I like to think that he's based on Iceman.
Yeah, and then who's Goose? Oh, totally the bunny.
Peppy.
Peppy.
Yeah.
Peppy Le Pew. Yeah, Peppy's the old man. What does he say? He always has a line.
I don't know. It's all jibble, jibble,
Oh,
jibble.
do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
He's the barrel roll
Watch
guy.
it, Fox.
Yeah.
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 He sounds like an old farmer.
And then Slippy is like maybe a girl. No, I'm
Maybe.
kidding.
Yeah, he's a frog.
Yeah, and what is his line? He's like, "Oh, help me!" He's always in trouble.
He's the one that's always getting in trouble, and also the one that flies directly in front of you and then complains when he gets shot.
2 or 3 times, like get out of the way.
It's like you can't fly in front of me and not have me shoot you.
Yeah, you got to do the little. It's like a bumper check, except shoot him with a laser. It's like the same thing. Well, here they added 2 more. They added like I think it's like one of them's like a cat or similar to a cat, or what's a cat, like a bobcat or a minx or a lynx.
Yeah, one of those larger than a domesticated cat, but smaller.
Yeah,
than like a leopard.
And she's Maya, and then there's also Faye, and Faye is I think a poodle.
Yes, I think
so they're both. What's neat too is I think they're both. Yeah, obviously Maya and Faye, they're both girls. And there's 3 different types of ships. You got the traditional ship by Falco and Starfox.
Yeah.
And then you've got this kind of big, heavy hauler ship that's Slippy and Peppy. And then the other 2 new ones have this kind of more sleek, smaller, faster ship, and there's stats with them. And you get to pick the ship right from the beginning. And I think you also can change who your main character is on the fly, but I never did that. I think I stuck, or maybe I ended up doing Falco. I ended up being Falco. So you pick your ship, and then you're taken to this screen that's unlike this kind of traditional linear pattern of you could in the first one in the 64, you can kind of pick where you go.
Yeah, there's like 3 main tracks.
Yeah.
But you can warp if you know the secrets. You can sort of warp between the tracks.
And this does something different where it kind of plays like Risk or like a small strategy game where you can decide where you go at any point, but on the other side of the screen, there are like missiles coming at you and shooting towards, it's not Andros. What's the name of the ship? Corneria.
Yeah.
Yeah, they start shooting at Corneria.
Andros is the main bad guy.
Yeah, and you can basically go to main levels, but kind of like in Zelda or whatever, Zelda 2 Link to the Past or a lot of RPGs, when you run into somebody while you're playing the game, it takes you to kind of like a mini game where you just have to like shoot a couple guys on a small level. And some of these levels you can get done in like a minute, and then you move on. So it's kind of like if you intercept a missile just while you're like trying to go to your, this is hard to describe. So you move on to the next level, and when you start to move on to the next level, there's always missiles. And if you run into the missile, you can stop the missile by beating that like mini stage. That's the best way I can try to describe this. But it ends up being really fun. You have 3, I think, difficulty levels. I just did the easiest, which it is super easy. I noticed some slowdown. That's why I'm really thinking like I'm really excited to play the new one where they officially release it in the mini classic to see like how polished and how different this one is. I beat it in under 2 hours. And what's neat is you could play entire new levels you've never played before, but there's a lot of interior levels, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Like the going down the hallway sort of things.
Yeah, and what's neat is if you're going down a hallway and it's too narrow, you can on the fly turn yourself into like a walking tank. And then all of a sudden your controls change completely. And sometimes you need to change to a walking tank because you'll be in a big room and you've got to shoot things, and it's best to like snipe things from a corner. So I really liked that. It's, to get down into these levels, you've got to shoot some things above the surface and then open up a gate, and then you can kind of go down into these little corridors and then destroy a boss. And the bosses are generally really easy. Even Andros at the end was pretty easy. I loved it in Star Fox 64. You can like play as like a submarine and a tank. So that's really neat. You don't do that in this. You kind of just go back and forth from these 2 shapes.
I always liked the tank. I didn't like the submarine as much.
Yeah,
in 64.
Yeah, because it just felt super sluggish. Yeah. Those are both really fun.
I think it'll be hilarious, but just as an aside, if they release the SNES Classic Mini, and Star Fox 2 just ends up being like it's just a copy of Star Fox 64.
Oh, yeah.
On the machine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. We won't have to talk about that. A lot of people are speculating that there's going to be a mini 64. Do you think they're going to do that?
I don't know. Maybe not in the near future, but maybe eventually. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
if they release one of these every year, that would be next. But I also think that'd be so weird because then they're gonna. I think that control. Okay, so Super Nintendo controller and regular Nintendo controller are totally different than a 64 controller.
Yeah.
That's just bizarre thinking they're gonna remake that thing.
I don't know. They've done some weird stuff.
They have.
Yeah,
But a little mini, I mean, I think it'd be cool. They would totally have way less games, though. They couldn't fit.
Yeah,
They're
maybe.
going less each time, right? So they would have to have like 7 or 8 games, I'm guessing 8 or 9. But I don't know. If one of them's Paper Mario, you sold me.
Yeah, or Mischief Makers.
Mischief Makers, yeah, that one might win, yeah. But anywho, we'll find out sooner or later. Obviously, this thing's going to sell out like crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what did you think about Starfox?
Well, it makes me sad in a way.
Okay.
Because I feel bad for Argonaut Software.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they made like a complete game.
Yep.
That in every way was what made the first one good, and then built upon it.
Yeah.
You know, it's truly what a sequel should be. It's not. It's the same, but it's more of and better and different and just more options and just more stuff.
It's like Uncharted to Uncharted 2, Back to the Future to Back to the Future 2. It's like it's different completely. But
they kind of figured it out, and they did a good true sequel.
Yeah.
In good faith. Mm-hmm. And then
Nintendo
nothing.
said, yeah, no. But I'm sure they at least got paid, you know.
But it still just stinks, you know. You have this little baby that, you know, you made or whatever, and you can't. You know, you're getting ready to unleash it, and then it's just sort of like, oh, yeah, we're going to make another one here, and we don't want to compete with ourselves. So.
It's super bizarre. I mean, I'm guessing some of that had to do with cartridge cost, because why would you lose all that money when you only would have money to gain? And they'll say, really thought this thing would sell poorly. But I don't know. That's not their motivation. Again, trying to figure out what Nintendo's going to do is kind of figuring out what a serial killer is going to do, because you can't imagine what a serial. So what people's like, I want to get in the head. What are they thinking? Well, you don't know what they're thinking because you're not crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what it feels like with Nintendo.
If you want to know how crazy Nintendo is, go play any WarioWare game.
Yeah, yeah. WarioWare's super weird.
Yeah,
but
super weird,
super fun. They make I kind of told you about that. There's this game for PSP that it's called WTF, Work Time Fun. That's like a WarioWare. If you like WarioWare, like love those games, and you don't know about this, check it out because it's for PSP and it's called Work Time Fun. And it's super random like that, but it's a little bit more I don't want to say adult, but
the acronym is WTF.
Exactly, right? Yeah. But it's super bizarre. It's even crazier than WarioWare. But at the same time, mini games you got to complete under a certain time. So anywho, back to Star Fox 2. I thought the music was good. It was funny. They default with the cockpit view. Uh-huh. And I bet you, here's what I'm going to call this right now, way before anybody else says it. And not like anybody's going to say, hey, Ben said this on the Video Game Dance podcast. But I think a lot of people are going to freak out and complain that they think it's only cockpit view when they play it on the Mini Classic. A lot of people are going to go on Twitter, go on Facebook before they hit the select button, because you naturally hit all these other buttons for the cockpit view. And hitting the select button to change your view is something of the past.
Yeah.
And I bet you people are going to, because I'll tell you this, I was kind of frustrated at first because I forgot like you could change views because it never defaulted in the cockpit view, and it does it for every level.
If the final version of the game, which nobody's ever seen, has a prompt in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe they'll put a prompt in it to tell you how to switch views. Yeah, but I had the same issue. I was like, I don't. Oh yeah. Select like, how do I get out of this view? And even the first Star Fox, you sort of forget, that you can do that. Yeah.
So the locales are also a lot different. Having some dogfights are really interesting. You have to use your radar a lot more in this game than the original. Definitely worth playing. It's funny, we can't do any of the kind of like, hey, how much is it worth? Because obviously if they released a cartridge, it'd be priceless because there's not many of them. It is going to be interesting to see people's reaction to it if they've never played Star Fox and have heard a lot of hype, because this is I think we're a great generation because we've played everything, kind of seen everything. But if you're 20, this thing came out way before you were born.
Yeah, you're going to be like the kids in Back to the Future. It's a baby toy.
Yeah. You're just going to think, what is the big deal thing about this? Yeah. I just hope it runs a little faster. That's my only thing, because it does chug. But I mean, hopefully it honestly, it should chug in that, because that's supposed to be like an accurate version of what we played. It's these emulators should be done really well. So we'll see what But the Guts will be able to take it because they've opened up the NES Classic so much. They put games like they try to put Neo Geo. I mean, they've been trying to like add a lot of games to that. So like I said, the music is very good. It's fun that if you want to just play through it, you can put it on easy and breeze through. When I did it on easy, I didn't die once. Got close maybe at the end, but I didn't die at all. But yeah, it's interesting take. I like the whole hub world thing, how you're constantly having to worry about like missiles and things like that. That's kind of interesting play. Well, let's do the back of the box, shall we?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
So this is funny. There is no box, right? Because this game never
it didn't
released.
exist.
But I I actually have a custom box on a custom case that says Starfox 2 that somebody made. So I don't think this was the actual real box, but somebody made it, and it looks great. So we'll see what they say. Starfox 2, take an adventure into the unknown. I bet you this is just fan-made, so it's actually going to be written well and not be that interesting. Andros survives the destruction of the core brain on Venom and secludes himself for enough time to rebuild his armies. And a new fortress that stands alone in the Lilat system. Oh, yeah, Lilat. That's a fun... Say that. Lilat. Lilat system. That's fun to say. It's up to you, the official Starfox team, to vanquish Andros. Vanquish is a great game. Have you played that?
Vanquish is a good game. Underrated. Sega, right?
Sega made that game.
Sega made that game.
360 and PS3.
Yep.
Dude, freaking amazing game. If you
There's a lot of stuff going on all the time in that game.
I've never said a third-person action game. If you like shooters, like shmups or whatever, like space shooters, you would like freaking Vanquish.
It's a very arcadey third-person shooter.
Super stylistic. Like it's kind of like if Metal Gear had a redheaded stepchild or something. Like but all action.
That was good. Unlike some of the.
I know.
Some of the real Metal Gear.
Yeah, if you like exposition, if you like to sit down and watch your games, some of the Metal Gears can do that to you. All right, back to the back of the box. Back to the back of the box. 2 new members have been added to the Starfox team to help fight Andros. Yeah, we talked about them. Maya and Faye. With them and 2 new types of planes. That's funny, planes. I guess it's a plane. I just think of it as
planes.
spaceship.
I always think of planes flying through space. Sure.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
There's a lot of lift up there. So.
It is up to you to liberate known space. And little bullet points, 3D graphics powered by the Super FX chip. 360 flight for realistic dogfights. Yeah, wait a sec. Did the original have 360 flights?
It did not. Nope.
It didn't.
It was all on rails. Yep.
That's right.
The whole thing.
So that's another cool thing about this game, because you think Star Fox 64, obviously a superior game to this, but to be able to actually turn around and have a 360, and it does it well.
Now, have you ever had the displeasure of playing Cybermorph on the Jaguar?
On the Jaguar, yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. It's the cheapest game. If you're a collector out there, you want to buy that game. It's like a $6 game.
Yeah, it's anytime you find Jaguar stuff, there's always a Cybermorph.
Because there was a pack in, right?
And it's a 360-degree free roaming.
Yeah.
Star Fox clone, basically.
Yeah.
Except it's completely broken.
Except if you can imagine wearing prescription glasses that aren't yours and trying to walk, that's about as much as you can see.
And having a green head
into the distance
the entire time. The little
the
little green head that tells you, don't do that. You're an idiot. Like it says all these little things like, you're going the wrong way. I can't remember what exactly it says, but there's literally a green-headed person on your screen telling you what a bad player you are the entire time you're playing.
And this thing is supposed to look better than Star Fox. Even this game, I remember. Like if you look, okay.
Oh yeah, that was the pitch for it.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah, part of it. Yeah,
yeah. It's and if you just look, Cybermorph Star Fox, you use Super Nintendo, vastly not as powerful of a hardware, and then you compare the two, and Star Fox times 10 is the better game. 3 different aircrafts. Oh, here's the names of them. The R-Wing, Light Fighter, and Heavy Bomber. And the Heavy Bomber by Slippy and Peppy. And transformable air wings. Yep, and we talked about that. Kids to adults, Smilance, Super FX chip was the front. No, it doesn't say anything. Only for Nintendo. That's right. Actually, only for
nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say only for Nintendo themselves. Not the console, not anybody else until now. Yeah, so that is Star Fox 2.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I recommend it. Find it at your local nowhere. Moving on.
All right, moving on. We'll talk about Shadowrun.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. I'm going to let you start to take it away. Shadowrun game, listener pick. Sorry.
Listener pick.
We said who it was in the
Chuck.
last episode.
Chuck from KC. Yeah.
Good for you, Chuck.
Yeah.
Thank you for suggesting this. Initially, I was not super excited because I thought, oh, Shadowrun, like everybody knows about, is popular. But I'm glad I played it because it was unlike what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's so it was.
You go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, it came out in '93, developed by Beam Software. And I should have looked up the rest of the games. I know I hear Beam's name every now and then. I know it's associated with good things.
Yeah, and alcohol, right? Jim Beam.
Jim Beam. This is his distant cousin. I think Beam's actually from Australia. I could be wrong about that. This Beam.
Oh, this like the
developer.
publisher?
Yeah.
Oh, I could see that, yeah.
It was published by Data East.
I love Data East. They make great pinballs.
Yeah, interesting. I was reading a little bit about the game. It sounds like it was nearly canceled and barely came out. But
I didn't know that part.
Basically got revived again and put together and shipped out. But it's basically sort of an isometric mashup of an action game, but an adventure point and click kind
And
of
an
game.
RPG.
Yeah, RPG kind of game.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of RPG elements. You have to equip items and sort of level things kind of ish.
Yeah.
You have to find new items. You have to use items in the right way. You have to know where to put them. So it's not purely any one of those genres. It's just kind of a mashup of all three, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to describe it. But.
Yeah, and it would have really taken me off guard. So neither of us played this as a kid.
Nope.
Yeah, and obviously
This would have frightened and confused me as a child.
It would have confused me, but I thought if for some reason my friend knew how to play it or something, and then I saw it, I might have been obsessed with this game.
It's the game itself is a little obsessed with Blade Runner, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the setting for this kind of being a point and click adventure action game, it is set in a cyberpunk style, which is futuristic. Honestly, yeah, it's very Blade Runner-y. But if you think about it, I mean, even that kind of stuff was popular in this kind of era. There was, for 2 episodes in a row, we had 2 like kind of non-traditional setting RPGs, which is really interesting, both by listener picks. Last time we had Robotrek.
Yeah, Robotrek.
That name, man.
Yeah, one of the worst
I've
named
talked about
RPGs
that
of all
forever.
time,
It just flows off the tongue like crap. Did you see that South Park episode where they poop through their mouth? It's the weirdest.
Where they eat backwards or whatever?
Yeah, or something. It's so weird and it's hilarious. God, it's so funny how they just pause and you see. Anyway, sorry, folks. Oh yeah, we're clean podcast. You notice I didn't say that. I said that, and we just do that. So if you're listening to kiddos in the car, we won't cuss, but boy, we do that off air. We let it all out like a garden hose because we have to hold it in, all our cussing, and then after the episode's done, it's just 4-letter words like crazy. Yeah. So this game, are you looking up anything else by the publisher before?
Oh no, I'm just kind of clicking through some stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it does not hold your hand.
No, it does not. You are completely lost when you start.
The intro is cool.
Yeah, it is cool, but the way that the game, no big spoilers here, but the way the game starts, I think you're supposed to feel lost.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
If that makes basically,
you can say how it starts.
Sure. So
obviously,
basically, you get killed or geeked. I think they call it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Geeked.
Yeah, they have like code words for stuff.
Yeah, which apparently is what they call being murdered in the future. He got geeked. Geeked.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. So,
sure.
So yeah, you get geeked at the beginning of the game, and then you're basically waking up in the morgue.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. Again, the whole isometric, I at least like that the sprites are large size. They're not like Final Fantasy size where everybody's squashed with big heads.
Yeah,
they at least have
teeny.
Pretty good proportions. And yeah, you wake up in the morgue and then the tutorial, just kidding, there's none.
Yep, it's you just start hitting buttons and I can pick things up and then I can do some things and sort of you play it and then you find out that a new little thing is in this spot and then I can use it over there and you have to play it a bit, but every time you sort of play it you figure out a new little piece of the puzzle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so again, this is a completely different game than something I would have played as a kid, but if I somehow was able to play it, I think it would have intrigued me enough to try to figure it out depending on how old I am, to the point where I really would recommend this to our listeners. If you kind of want to play, you want to play maybe an RPG, but you're not very into RPGs, but you kind of want to play something that gets your curiosity going as what to do next and kind of like murder mystery. But I think it would be super hard to play this game without some sort of guide.
Oh yeah.
Like you need a guide.
Yeah.
And
you
it'd
need
be
a little
fine to
handholding.
use a guide because you still would feel like, oh, that just saved me 20 minutes of making me super frustrated. Also, like the shooting, you don't even get a gun at the beginning, and you don't even know how to get a gun.
You don't have anything at the beginning.
Yeah, you
And-
literally
but
wake up in the
There are
morning.
people who will shoot you, but yeah, you do not have a way to defend yourself.
Yeah, but then eventually when you do, the way you shoot them is by, you really would need a mouse. Is the mouse compatible with it?
I don't know.
I think it actually
I
is.
have a mouse and I didn't even think of it.
We'll look at it. We'll find out in our next segment break. We'll look it up to see. But I didn't realize, there are, besides Mario Paint, there's like 20 games that utilize the mouse. And if this used the mouse, I would almost like recommend it enough to buy it because that would make the shooting a whole lot easier. Because you basically have a reticle, again, isometric, and you have to like kind of scroll to shoot the guys. And, you can take a lot of hits. And you also kind of need to level yourself up. There's some grinding to be done. There are some pretty typical places that you end up that most people in the know would say this is where you grind to kind of level up to get far in the game. It's a pretty long game. Obviously, we didn't beat it. We have such limited time to play these kind of things.
Yeah, it is not mouse compatible.
It is not, but
Yeah.
boy, it should be.
Should be.
Yeah, this thing started out too, from what I hear, as the concept of this was a board game. A board game I never played.
Yeah, like a tabletop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also make this for the Sega Genesis. I heard, though, I didn't play the Sega Genesis, so I can't attest to this, but this is the superior version.
Most of the time.
Most of the time people think that, yeah. And this, no fanboys here. I mean, like, I did watch a little of the gameplay of the Genesis, and it's one of those things where it's completely different. I mean, the story and everything are the same, but the way the shooting is done, it's kind of, there's good and bad from both. If they would take the good stuff from both versions, you'd have a really, really good game. And what's funny about this game is, I never heard about it growing up, but this is on a lot of like top 100 lists
Yeah.
of all time. And, when you have a top 100 list of all time, you generally then have like maybe 7 or 8 games from Super Nintendo by themselves at least. And then you kind of start thinking this is in the top 7 games, and not popularity, but more like people refer to this as like a really good game that was, I don't know if they're doing it because it's underappreciated, but a lot of people really, really like this game, and I could see why.
Yeah. I think if you were the right age when this game came out and you were really into that dystopian future stuff that was kind of in the vogue at the time, I could see it being that way. I think part of that, honestly, is that, there's sort of the, this is my hidden gem and maybe I get it and you don't kind of thing,
That's fair.
situation with this game too. I mean, it's a good game. If you like those kind of games, I don't think it's a mass appeal game. I think
No.
I think a lot
agree,
of people who would play this would not like it.
No.
It's definitely a polarizing game.
It is.
I'll say that about it.
But maybe one that you can appreciate. Like our audience, obviously, most of them have some interest in this. I ran into another lady listener, so that was kind of cool.
Oh.
A friend of mine's wife, she listens. She's just more like the family stuff, but she was probably listening. She was like, I kind of zone out when you talk about games. I was like, that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, we zone out when we talk about games too.
Yeah. And another friend of mine said, this is kind of the biggest comment we get, which I guess is a good compliment, is we always say, like, you guys have inspired me to, like, dust off my old games or, like, break them out or, like, buy games again or play games again. So we have a lot of people who listen who I guess don't play that often, but are obviously interested in video games because they entered it in a search bar or something and breaking them out. So that makes us feel good. That makes the heart happy.
Yeah, exactly. I like to think that I've killed a fair amount of productivity.
Yeah.
I'd
say too. Yeah. We're helping bring down.
We're helping bring down modern civilization.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
One video game at a time. But I think helping depression and loneliness and despair. So it evens itself out.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Balance to the
Yeah, it
universe.
means the economy. Who cares if the stock goes down 1/1,000,000th due to us? We're okay with that. That's perfectly fine. But anyway, no, we're just kidding. We love feedback like that. That's always nice to hear. So this game is interesting to talk about. It's not the easiest game to talk about. I will be so happy when whatever our listener pick is, it's a game that we get 2 kind of weird RPGs in a row from 2 guys that aren't RPG guys. But hopefully you guys appreciate listening to this because it's challenging for us to describe this kind of game with the intent of you guys not knowing anything about it. So we're trying to like paint a picture for you. And it's difficult for this freaking game.
It's really difficult. Yeah, watch a playthrough on this one.
Yeah, but I do like also when there's dialogue between two people, they actually have the animated faces come up. Character design, this is a game where some budget went into the aesthetics of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, of course, whoever designed this game, the direction was all somebody really liked Blade Runner. But Blade Runner also, to be honest, like hopefully nobody flames us, that's another one where style over substance could be considered. There's so many versions of Blade Runner, like 7 different versions. I like that movie, but yeah, if you're not quite in the mood for it, that's a hard one to sit through.
My problem with Blade Runner, the movie, I didn't see it until much later.
I didn't either.
And I had seen a lot of other movies, from the time, at the time.
I didn't see it till I was like 25.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't see Blade Runner until my 20s. And I think by the time I saw it, I was out of the there and now. And it's hard to have an appreciation that other people have for it because I didn't experience it back in the day.
But back then, this was like the thought of future was done so differently that when I was growing up, again, it's funny what you like, but I like Demolition Man a lot. The idea, that was the first time I saw a movie where the future to me could be kind of realistic.
I just watched Demolition Man a couple of weeks ago.
Did you?
Actually, yeah. Dude, yeah. Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone frozen
Simon
in
Phoenix.
time,
Dude,
coming back to battle it out in the future.
What was the password?
Oh,
Teddy bear.
Yeah, Teddy bear. That's
and he
right.
pulls the guy's eye out.
Welcome, Warden. What do you use the clams for? The clamshells, the 3 clamshells.
Seashells, yeah. You don't know how to use the 3 seashells.
Yeah.
And that stupid comedian guy's in there from The Animal. What's his name?
Mike.
His daughter's like a singer now that's in top 40. It's so freaking random how old people get.
But every time you curse, a little receipt prints out of the wall because you get a citation.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, and there's no crime in the future.
And then Sandra Bullock, first time I ever saw her, I had such a crush on her. She looks so good in that movie.
Is that the first movie she was in?
Not the first movie she was in, but it was before Speed.
Was it before Speed?
Yeah, sure.
That's what I remember from is Speed.
And she was Lieutenant Lenina Huxley. That's hard to say. I love this movie. Sorry, you're kind of shot. Like you saw it a week ago. I bet you I can.
Oh, I know. You clearly know more about it than I do.
No, I
was just like, I'm going to watch. I want to watch a Laserdisc, and I have Demolition Man on Laserdisc. Yes, I said that.
Oh man,
and I said,
I'm jealous. I'm
going
to steal that.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
Don't turn your head. I will steal a very comically big movie.
I was between that and Timecop.
Oh, Timecop's great.
Yeah, Timecop's that's
that one. Funny thing is that one does not hold up as well. If you watch it again, like their future cars look like crap. Like when I was,
they are horrible.
Do you remember their future cars? Okay, imagine
they look like go-karts with golf carts with just stuff like stapled on.
Yeah, look at Timecop car. Like he gets in the car and they're self-driving, so you kind of believe that. But like when you look at it, kind of what's my way to say? Like imagine a microwave. And you take it apart and smash it, and then you pick up the pieces and stick it on the shell of a car. That's what those cars look like.
Yeah, they did not have much budget for the future cars.
Yeah, I like that one. But yeah,
Timecop though there's some good life lessons in that movie. Mm-hmm. Same matter can't occupy the same space. That's scientific fact.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme in a mullet, still attractive.
Scientific fact. That you can do the splits between your shelving to avoid electrocution.
Yeah.
Scientific fact.
By bad guys, yep.
Yeah.
That, for whatever reason... Okay, here's a big hole in that movie. Shoot. Hopefully we don't lose you. Watch Timecop, and then pause this, and stop being confused, and watch Timecop, and then play this again.
Come back, yeah.
Because we're going to talk about Timecop just for another half a minute. So, in Timecop, where they have to go back into the past, it's always a thing when you do with time travel, like what's the apparatus you're in? They did in not Memento, what's the one with Deja Vu with what's his butt? And he gets in this like eggshell and it makes him transfer. When you're dealing with Looper, you also go into this weird kind of thing that glows and you pop. But in this thing, you're on a racetrack and then
they fire you at a wall.
That's what I was getting at. Mm-hmm. Why would they put a wall there?
Because it's more dramatic.
Yeah.
For theatrical drama purposes.
Yeah, so basically you get in this speeding like F-Zero type car. You go like 88 miles per hour towards this wall. And right before you hit the wall, you kind of go through this like freaking abyss Stargate fake thing that warps you in there. We are not a movie podcast. Sorry. There's millions of those. We like more Gooder. There's Super Movie Bros. listen to those guys if you want to listen to movies. We're sorry, but we're talking about movie stuff on this video game podcast. But that's what happens. There's some tie-ins. They made a Timecop video game.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Demolition Man. Boy, that one's not good either. That's also Super Nintendo. I have that. It's not good.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, surprisingly. But anyway, they also have 2 blood stains. Do you remember that? They're like, oh, what happened to those people? There's 2 blood stains of their heads also on the wall. So not only do they have a wall.
They did not clean the blood, and they didn't even take off the pieces of the people who didn't make it.
Yeah, they left the blood stains there. It's so stupid. Boy. Let's move back to Demolition Man. Then let's move back to Blade Runner. And then let's move back to Shadowrun. The cover of the game is really interesting, too. It's like got a horn head.
Yeah, I thought it was like about Satan, at first, the game.
What? Oh, there's something. Isn't that the game that the cover of the okay, so Super Nintendo, for those of you who don't know, right next to the picture, there's something that describes the game, like what kind style of game it is. And I'm trying to remember what it says. And sometimes those things are really comical, like Captain Novolin.
Yeah, Life of the Cyberpunk. Let me see if I can read this. Life of the Cyberpunk Fringe of the Future.
Okay, no, that's actually pretty good. That's not what I was thinking. There's a game called Captain Novolin, which Novolin...
yeah, it's insulin.
Yeah, which people say it differently, though, because I guess they're not used to saying Novolin. They say something else. But that one has the funniest freaking thing to the right that you read, and I can't remember what it is. While Adam looks it up, I will then still talk about Shadowrun. It's also, what's neat is behind that little skull head, it's kind of like, there's a lot of like computer parts. There's a lot of kind of techno, Johnny Mnemonic. That's another kind of thing this game kind of reminds me of. And that, actually, Johnny Mnemonic came out around the same time as this movie.
Yeah,
okay,
here's your Captain Novolin cover.
Read that too.
An action-adventure game about diabetes.
Yeah, that's literally on the cover. It feels like it's a made-up game. Do you know this game?
Yeah, it's rare.
Do you have it?
No.
I looked it up because I wanted it because I'm like, we're both kind of in health stuff. Like, that's hilarious. And you avoid, like, the sweets and you eat. Like, it's a stupid, terrible game, but it's like an $80 game.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They gave it to kids with diabetes to make them not overdose on sugar or something.
Really? Like, it was given out in, like, dental
I think
offices?
so, yeah. I'm not 100%. I'd have to go back and look at that, but it was like a promotional, educational game made for kids who have diabetes to teach them about sugar and how to regulate their.
And we didn't even have that
intake.
much juvenile diabetes back. I mean, it started to get bad, but like it wasn't even bad, like as bad as it is now.
I'm not sure how it came about or whether it was like some government grant that created it or something. but yeah, it's a weird game. But that's literally what it is. It's
Captain Novolin.
It's Captain Novolin, who is the embodiment of insulin, I guess, and he's fighting off candy.
Yeah, and it's an actual game. I didn't even know. Somehow this went under my radar.
I made that up. That's what I assume it is.
It's also not a very good game. And what's funny, too, Novolin, that's a short-acting insulin. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's also funny because, like, out of all the insulins you would use, that's not the most robust one. So he actually should be called, like, Captain Lantis.
And I mean, well, the competing pharmaceutical companies will make their own, Captain whatever.
Does he fight like a gallbladder and pancreas and all this?
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for Captain Viagra or Captain Cialis.
Cialis would be better.
Yeah.
And then in there, the setting would be a bathtub on a hill with a very attractive man.
Family-friendly
with gray hair.
podcast. Family-friendly podcast.
Sorry. Yeah, of course. But they're always like really like overly like good-looking guys with gray hair. They're all like George Clooney types or whatever. It's like no one looks like that, and if you did look like that, you hopefully wouldn't need your Cialis.
Yeah, I've always thought that the people they pick for those commercials look a little too healthy for the medications they're pushing.
Oh gosh, yeah. But now I'm thinking about it. It's like, would we really want to see like?
No, we wouldn't.
Man with pizza stain on his shirt or whatever. So anywho,
let's read the back art on this.
Yeah, back art. Go ahead.
All right. You awake on a slab in a city morgue. True statement. That happens at the beginning of the
totally
game.
does.
So I guess it's not a spoiler. It's on the cover.
Yep.
Officially, you don't exist. Disoriented and confused, you are forced into a race against time, technology, and termination. Some alliteration there.
Yeah, I like it.
Running in the shadows and cracks between the megaplexes, which is what they call the cities in this game. Survival depends on your wits, your weapons, and your wayward companions.
And it's more alliteration. W's.
Plunge into the dark side of the future where technology and magic become one. Where devolution,
de-evolution.
de-evolution, sorry,
That's it.
and destruction are a way of life. Plunge into Shadowrun. The ultimate foe, question mark, your own mind. That's actually not terrible.
No, I like it.
Yeah, that's
so
okay.
far, both
Yeah.
of these back
Yeah.
of the boxes have
Yeah,
been.
we have winners for back cover
Yeah, very
art.
good. Music too. I like this one a
Yeah,
lot.
the music was awesome. in this
Very
game,
different,
actually.
and it actually fits the setting really well. It's very cyberpunky, metally, sharp kind of music.
It's like synth.
Yeah,
kind of
synth.
stuff. Yeah.
Good word. It's a hard word to say. Can you imagine Lisp? Did we ever talk about that? Like, why would someone who knows they'd have to talk about Lisp can't say the word of their own affliction? Think about it. If you has a Lisp,
It is kind of it's a mean
it's a
phrase,
mean
I think.
word because
Yeah,
it's
it
like
kind of is.
it's like saying someone with one leg has to, like, I don't know, whittle things forever, and they obviously their leg is made out of wood because they're a pirate. That's a bad analogy. I might have to cut that out because I don't even know where I was going with that. But anywho, those are our video game book club picks. Totally, if you can. And how much does Shadowrun go for now?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'll have to.
It
look
wasn't
up
as
here.
crazy as I thought. For whatever reason,
Yeah,
I
it's-
thought it was like $100 game. But
I was
it's
thinking
not.
it was like $50.
Yeah, $40-$50 game. You could trade for it, something like that. Yeah, but we recommend it.
Yeah,
What are you looking at?
Shadowrun, a loose copy will set you back about $35. It looks like.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's
for
not
some
bad.
of the suggestions we've had before, so that's not too bad. So yeah, we like that a lot. Why don't we go ahead and do our next pick? So Super Nintendo, we've been at it for a while. If you want to listen to our last few episodes, we've been talking a lot about Super Nintendo. A lot of our picks have been Super Nintendo. We're going to move on. We're kind of going to take a sidestep, and we're going to go on to the
TurboGrafx 16,
TurboGrafx 16, made by
NEC.
NEC, which, like, what does that stand for?
No Electronics Company.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
NEC is what it stands for.
Yeah, exactly. So the TurboGrafx 16, this is going to be something where next episode we are actually going to kind of showcase the TurboGrafx 16 and talk about it more.
Yeah.
And discuss the games, and hopefully enlighten ourselves and enlighten our listeners. And also get some ideas coming from our listeners for some suggestions and picks and their own kind of stories about this fun system.
Yeah, we're looking at you, Bithead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He does like that.
Yeah, send us a pic.
Yeah, our OG DOT dubs. You should know what that means, right?
Sure.
Yep. No, OG Dad of the Week.
Oh yeah, he's the OG Dad of the Week.
Yep. All right, go ahead. Make your pick. I don't know what this is. Adam gets to pick the TurboGrafx 16, then I will pick mine next time. What did you pick, Adam?
Okay, so I'm going to go with one that is maybe a little bit easier to come by. So TurboGrafx games, I have a TurboGrafx, as does Shane. You don't have one, do
I
you?
do not have one.
Okay.
Not anymore. I did actually back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So,
and then
I did not have one back
I
in the day.
returned it.
Ooh.
Back when you can return things.
Boo.
Yeah, my cousin and I got it, and somehow, because we were dumb, we returned it.
All right. So I was having an internal debate between three games to pick on this.
Okay. The controller. That's why I didn't like it. I think I was just something.
I'm
was
not a
weird.
huge fan of the controller myself, and mostly because of the short cord.
Yeah.
If you don't have a multi-tap or a turbo tap, quote unquote, then it's hard to use.
Also, it's
because-
like one player by.
so
Yeah,
short.
exactly. It's one player by default.
Yeah, because you have to have multi-tap to play two-player games.
Yeah.
But so I was kind of between Airzonk
Okay. Yeah.
and Blazing Lasers.
Oh, okay.
But I think I'm going to go Blazing Lasers just because Airzonk is really hard to find and
Yeah.
very expensive, and Blazing Lasers is not.
Okay. Good.
So, and I really like Blazing Lasers.
Great. Tell me a little bit about it.
So it's a vertically scrolling spaceship shooter.
Okay.
Has a lot of different power ups.
This is new genre for us, right? We haven't picked something like this yet.
Yeah, not really, no. And
Starfox 2 has been the closest thing, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, but it's it's a vertical spaceship shooter. It's not that atypical or out of the vein of a lot of other spaceship shooters. It just does everything really well. It's got good music. It has good graphics. It has good weapons. It has good power ups. It has
Cool.
good pacing. And it's a game that if you were getting into collecting for the TurboGrafx, you might actually be able to find.
Yeah.
we kind of have this rule of not picking maybe the most popular games on a console, but I think this is a little bit more of a popular game on that console, but it's such an obscure console that
You're
I
right.
think
It's hard to actually, let's think about that. What is
Yeah.
the top 15% ish? Again, this is all subjective.
I mean, there's
stuff.
but even Bonk. I mean, most people haven't played Bonk, and it's the most common. That or Keith Courage, even
Keith
those
Courage. That's
are
one I
the-
would not pick.
Yeah, those are the two. And I was actually kind of a little bit thinking about Dungeon Explorer as well, but I think I'll leave that one alone. But yeah, Blazing Lasers. It'll be quick, easy to play. It's something that most people can find.
Yeah.
if they were so inclined. And so I think we'll go that and I've played it pretty recently too. So.
Cool, great, and I'll borrow your TurboGrafx. Can't wait.
I'm hoping somebody picks Devil's Crush.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that game. I love Devil's Crush. I could play that game just for hours on end at any given time. There's certain games that like you can just pick up and play at any point in time, and for the TurboGrafx, like that's my jam.
Sweet.
For whatever reason, I really like that game.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We're gonna mix things up a little bit. So our video game dad pick of the week for episode 17 will be Blazing Lasers for the TurboGrafx Sweet 16. That we should, and so we're talking about it on our 16th episode. We did that on purpose, even though I just sounded like that was a revelation.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence at all.
All right, now for our listener pick. Remember, if you want to submit a listener pick or suggest maybe 2 or 3, a lot of listeners have organically been suggesting 2 or 3, and then we pick from those, which you're free to do. Just message us on Facebook, Twitter, email us, leave us a voicemail. Just kidding, we don't do that. Let us know. So our what do we got in there? Throw out some others. What is this, an RPG that maybe?
This is a shooter.
A shooter
for the NES.
Okay, good, because he made the pick and I looked at it and it looked like an RPG name, and I was going to say, Adam, scroll again, because I'm not going to do 3 listener pick RPGs. So we put it in the randomizer, and our video game listener book club pick is Adam.
Dragon Spirit.
Dragon Spirit. All right. For what? What is this for?
The NES.
The NES. And it is a shooter?
I believe so. I think it's a... I'm pulling it up here. I think it's a Namco Bandai game.
Dude, that cover art looks
back in the day. Yeah. No, this is on a lot of people's hidden gems list and different things. I have played it. It has been forever.
Oh, I see it now. No, I know what this is.
So I actually am really much looking forward to playing this.
How weird. We hadn't picked any, and we technically have 2 shooters now for our video game book club.
I'm happy. I've been playing a lot of shooters lately. So
that's cool.
Bring it on.
Yeah, so this is Dragon Spirit, and I have seen this before. I've seen people talk about it, and it is, instead of having a ship, you have a dragon.
Yeah.
So dragons breathe fire. That makes sense.
Sure. It's like Game of Thrones NES version.
Yeah, and sorry we don't remember. This was one that was suggested a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago before I was really writing down everybody's name, so sorry.
Yeah, but email us if you're the one that did it and you're still listening.
We will shout you out if you're still listening to us.
Yeah. All right, so Dragon Spirit for the NES is our video game listener book club pick, which we got a short turnaround. We got to play these games in a week. It's a good thing we did shooters.
They're both shooters.
Yeah, good idea. We didn't have another RPG, even though we actually like both that we just suggested. I'm just giving people heck. So those are our video game book club picks for this week. All right, let's move on. All right, so moving on. I wanted to suggest something I discovered when every once in a while, because we're the video game dad's podcast.
Yeah.
I look up like dad gaming stuff, or just like search it or Google it and see if there's something else out and around. And like initially when I did that, there wasn't anything. But then I found this other website, and it's not a podcast. It's called Dad's Gaming. And that's all it's called, just DADS Gaming. And you can find them at facebook.com/dadsgaming and www.dadsgaming.com. And it's as soon as I found them, I instantly like tried to message them and say, like, I love, they have a generic name. They seem to be pretty well produced. Mm-hmm. Pretty sure they don't have a podcast, but they kind of have a social community. And it seems to be a social community of dads getting together to play online gaming together, like Halo type stuff,
yep,
or competitive multiplayer play that they can kind of get together and schedule times to play. So we have had that happen before. I think a listener has asked us about something like that, like when do you have time to play? What about the community? Everybody online especially now when you play like online gaming or chat, everybody's like teenagers and they talk crap and they're cussing, and like if you ever played, like it's just it's not our demographic. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
sort of. The worst is when you're sort of in an open game and you're playing with people who are sort of older or like-minded or whatever, and you kind of have a cool little party going on.
Yep.
And then like some 10-year-old shows up.
Yeah, and just
And then everything gets weird and uncomfortable.
yeah, and then they start like spouting off like it's not just cuss words.
Well,
it's
not
like,
just that. Like, I just don't like the idea of being online with a 10-year-old.
Yeah,
you know
exactly,
What I mean?
yeah.
Like, just
Well, it's also their potty mouth
go-
stuff. Like they'll say
yeah.
like racist stuff, derogatory stuff. Like it's not just like
Yeah.
like F words and S words and all
yeah.
that.
Like
stuff.
I wouldn't want to hang out with you in real life, and it wouldn't be appropriate. So I really don't want to hang out with you online. So
Yeah.
So this website is kind of a
I think-
way for dudes like us to get together and play some games.
Yeah, to actually play. So even though right now I think, Adam, Shane, and I and myself we haven't been able to find a chunk of time to do that. Like, because that's probably like this, like our podcast takes that up. So I would love to say like I can vouch for the community, but I was able to send a message to the creator of this. His name is Reno. I don't know where he's based, but I kind of asked about him, like what is this about? Because his website was actually, you have to join the website to kind of get into the forum, and it's kind of just for dads only. But it's not exclusive. It's just literally like he says. I'll read to you what he kind of said when I asked about this and said about shouting him out. He says, in short, it was founded in 2014 with the goal of creating positive gaming experience for like-minded dads. And I'm like, sweet. Since then, our community has grown to members in the U.S., Canada, UK, and the Netherlands. Besides playing online games, we also connect on many levels and lean on each other for emotional support. So that's great. So this is a nice community of guys where, real stuff happens. More things can get in there, from marriage to kids to issue. Things come up. So they seem to be not only just getting together and playing games. It's actually like a nice like friend community. There are a handful of charities that we support and campaign awareness and fundraising. I'd be happy to elaborate more if you'd like to maybe or have them on as a guest. That'd be great. I mean, we're already growing a little guest list of some guys that we want to kind of have on in the future. Hopefully in the near future. We'll just have to kind of figure out how we do that, if we pre-record or something like that. But we'd love to have him on as a guest, maybe talk about this, because it sounds like our community would be similar to his in terms of if you're interested in something like that. So if you're a dad listening and you love to play competitive games, multiplayer games, which I like, but I also like to do like couch co-op myself, right?
Yeah.
That's more what I have time for. But they play on all the major platforms, like Xbox One, PlayStation 4. They also play on PC. So if you're a PC person, you would also probably like this group. And there's even smaller sets of dads doing the Nintendo Switch, mobile phones, and even card games. So really interesting. Thanks, Reno, for writing us back. And hopefully some of our listeners would take advantage of some of this, doing some dadding stuff.
Yeah, dadding. I actually did some serious dadding this last week.
Yeah, you did.
I went and got a minivan.
Yeah, and you're this kind of equal proud yet embarrassed about this thing.
Mostly, I think the irony is funny. Because I said I've said forever that I'm never going to get a minivan.
Yeah.
And now I have one.
Yeah.
And it's my wife's, so I don't really drive it. I mean, aside from like, if we're
So you
going
got
on a
rid of what,
trip, I
the
guess.
Honda Pilot
We got
thing?
rid of a Honda Pilot.
You weren't a fan of that.
No, I thought the Honda Pilot was a big turd.
And it was
Yeah.
weird because I sat in it and I always thought, Hondas are made well and all this. But even me, when I sat in it, I mean, you already talked crap on it, so I felt fine. But yeah, I thought it was a weird car.
It's kind of a weird vehicle. Yeah.
The
It's
screen.
SUV-ish. It's kind of minivan-ish.
But it would like mess up a lot, and like the screen would go blank, and it had these like 80s kind of like screensaver star on it. It's different.
Yeah, the styling wasn't great on it. Really, my biggest gripe about that car was just that it was not
very big.
Not that you don't expect the car like that to run like a Lamborghini or anything, but God, it was just a gutless turd. I mean,
Yeah, you're right,
If
yeah.
you need to get up on the road, it just didn't have any oomph.
Oh, yeah.
You could tell it could had a little bit of torque underneath it, but just nothing. But we went and got a Pacifica.
Chrysler Pacifica.
And we bought the one that has so it's got two 10-inch screens in the back, and they both look great.
Nice.
And they both
did Exhibit put these in?
Maybe. I wrote Exhibit, and then he fixed it for me.
He
But
did. He's like, whoa, MTV Ride. What was it?
MTV
It was
Rides?
Rides?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Not MTV. Maybe it was just Pimp My Ride.
Pimp My
there
Ride,
we go.
that's what it is.
Wait, that was a video game. Do you know that?
Was it?
Pimp My Ride was a video
bet
game
that was good.
for the Xbox, maybe PS2 or something. Oh no, it wasn't good. And I remember the guy. See, it's all coming back. Ish, the guy who did the interior.
Oh,
Do you remember that? His name was Ish, like ISH.
But but it has HDMI inputs on each of these things, and it has outlets in it, like house outlets. So
cool.
I'm debating on what I think I'm going to take one of my PS3s or something on the road at some point in the thing. But it's also got a big touchscreen in the dash. It drives itself. So it keeps, like, if you're going down the road, it has lane assist, so it will keep itself in the lane.
So it'll nudge itself back.
Yeah, nudge it. So
Well, you have what I saw on your feature list was adaptive cruise.
yeah,
That is something like if you've never so
it's awesome.
Yeah, listeners that don't know what adaptive cruise is, we rented a Jeep Cherokee that had this on our way to Colorado, so we had to drive through Kansas. It basically you don't have to touch the gas pedals, and part of it is like, oh, I'm a man, drive my own car. It's like, well, whatever. Once you try this thing, you can set the distance for the car, and like while you're turning, and it accelerates like perfectly. Like it's not like you turn left, get into an open lane, and then it'll accelerate. It does it really smooth to the point where it'll brake for you automatically when you randomly get behind somebody who's like going slow.
You can use it in town, and it'll stop you at the stoplights.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that, but it will. And it's crazy. I mean,
I like that.
It does the thing where it parks itself. It will parallel park for you.
Whoa, I've never seen that in a big car like that.
Or it'll parallel or perpendicular park.
Perpendicular park.
Yeah, so it'll back into a space, like
man,
a tight
Americans,
space
we've
for
gotten
you.
lazy.
I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Well,
Like,
it'll
you
back into a perpendicular space.
Yeah, you pull up to a space or pull up next to a space,
Weird.
and you just push a button, and it has cameras all around all sides of it, so it shows a picture of your car like you're in a helicopter above the car looking at it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it tells you, shift in drive, shifter in reverse. It lets you control the gas and the brake, but it turns the wheel. It does all this. It does all the wheel turning and stuff for you.
I've seen like Fords do that, but never a van. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
and then it just kind of you sort of Tetris yourself into the thing, and the car does it automatically.
Wow, cool.
It's bizarre.
Sliding doors, right? It's a real van.
Yeah, sliding doors, both sides.
Cool. It looks like. How does Grayson like it?
He's a fan.
Yeah, I mean, we did that. We got a third row. It's not a van like our car, but I was saying like we need to do like a little photo shoot with all three of us because Shane has a van.
Yeah,
you have a van. And I have a not quite van, but it's similar to a van. R350.
Yeah, we've all got family haulers now.
Family hauler. There we go. Yeah. So we've all got family haulers, and we need to take pictures.
Yeah.
We need to take Video Game Dad's podcast pictures in front of these things.
Yeah, I was talking about getting some flames installed on mine, some decals.
Oh, just decals. I thought you meant like real flames.
No, real flames too, but just decals for when it's daytime.
Oh, yeah. Is what it is. It's a good looking car. Like if I were to get a van, I would get that one. The Pacifica has got some nice style into it.
It's kind of cool. The rear seats, the back seats, you just push a button and they go and pop into the floor.
Like immediately.
You don't even have to touch them.
And they do it pretty quick.
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you're robbing a bank.
Exactly.
Or,
and it's got these
hauling
little
children.
stow things down in the floorboard where you can smuggle stuff.
Yeah. So you're getting a bigger car. Does this mean a bigger family?
Maybe.
Yeah. All right.
To be determined.
To be determined.
TBT.
All right.
TBD, yeah.
Hey, leave us wanting more. We're going to find out more in future episodes. So cool. Interesting. I have one little thing about Sebastian, which is so he sleeps through the night. I've been saying that forever. He's a sweet little kid. We're going to have his head sonogram tomorrow. Did I tell you about this?
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you about this?
No, you hadn't told me about it.
Okay,
no.
It's not a bad thing. It's kind of, you could be proud of it, I guess. So I do percentiles all the time, like your kid's in the 50th percentile for height or 70th percentile for weight or whatever. Well, because he's my son, he's big. He's like 90th in height, 95th in weight, or 90. He's in the 90s for everything, but head, he's off the charts.
That's the way Grayson was.
Okay,
yeah.
maybe it says but his head is off the charts. But I guess after you're off the charts, like 2 or 3 doctor visits, they have a protocol that you got to get your head ultrasounded to make sure you're not having some like weird extra growth there that's pushing on your skull to make your head bigger. But I even told my doctors, like, Dad had a big head growing up. It's probably not a big deal. He's going to get it checked out tomorrow, so I'll let you guys know. But he's not having like lethargy, or he's not like, he doesn't have seizures. He's like really alert all the time. He sleeps a ton. He grows a lot. So I'm sure it's a whole lot of nothing, but we already met our insurance deductible. So if they told him to like, have his toenails x-rayed or whatever, we'd be like, sure, it doesn't matter to us. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, Doc.
Yeah. After the deductible is gone.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like it's going to be like medical vacation till Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that ICU bill we had for his first couple days in life. Go back to that episode 5 or whatever that was, which is our most listened to episode.
Yeah, I think so. Actually.
Yeah, and our last episode is too. We've gained some new listeners. I was going to say, if we're always curious where you find us. If you're a new listener and you like us, when anybody ever shoots us an email, let us know how you heard about us, because that's always kind of interesting to hear, since we're just an independent amateur podcast. It's kind of fun to hear, but we appreciate all our new listeners. So that way, if someone shout us out or something, we would know. So the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about was our new segment we're going to have. So we have our video game book club, which has been a nice, popular, fun thing. We have our video game dad of the week, which we're going to announce a new dad of the week.
Yeah, which is we're a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
Not
at all. Yeah, so it's all very stupid.
Yeah,
Again,
it's tongue in cheek. This is episode 16. We're having our second dad of the week.
Yeah, but we're gonna have more often. We're gonna do it a little more often. And then we have our name is lame. So I thought of it. I was talking to Adam. You're right here. I was talking to you. I was talking to you about the fact that we both love handhelds.
Yes,
and
I love handhelds.
We have had a hard time talking about them on the podcast. So I thought, well, why don't we do a little segment that it just showcases handhelds, but do it every episode and just make it short. And we have a new segment that we are temporarily calling the Handheld Minute.
The Handheld Minute.
The Handheld Minute. And it's funny because we're going to talk for more than a minute. So there's the irony as we name it and everything. So it's called the Handheld Minute, but we'll talk for more than a minute. Each dad, and Shane when he comes back, we're going to just talk about a handheld game that we recommend and just recommend for our listeners. This isn't a book club, but if you do like it or play it or have your own suggestions, you can suggest a handheld for the Video Game Book Club, and we will eventually do that as well. But that's a way, I think, to get some handheld stuff in, because we got to give some handheld love. Like the Game Boy, GBA, and original Game Boy are some of my favorite consoles I've ever played. It's in top 5. I think there's a lot of fun handheld games and ways to play them, like on a big screen for the most part. Even the PSP, you can get a PSP 2000 or 3000 second or third iteration and be able to play that on a big screen.
Yep.
Game Boy Advance, there's always ways to legitimately play these on a big screen if you're not really a handheld fan, or just break into it if you're not into it, or you can make your collection grow by some of the suggestions we're going to make.
Yeah, so a lot of these games are really cheap too. Handhelds are always underappreciated. Games are cheap.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this little new thing, and we're not going to spend very much time with it, but we're going to do it every episode. We will each pick a handheld game that we enjoy and recommend to you guys to play, and maybe say a quick spiel about why we do it. So now this is the part where the listeners come in. Over the next couple episodes, please send us a message with your idea of what we should call this segment. It's currently just called the Handheld Minute, but if you could do some alliteration, play on words, whatever you want, and if it's clever enough that we think like, oh yeah, we're going to call it that, we will say whatever the segment name is, and then shout you out every time we do it until we forget your name, which hopefully is a couple episodes. There you go. That's the only prize. Maybe we'll give you a coupon for a free shirt or half a discount for a shirt. I shouldn't give away free shirts with Shane not being here, I'm sure. When they listen to this, they're shaking their fist in the air. So our handheld minute, it's going to be weird getting used to this. I'll let you go first, Adam.
Sure.
We're each going to pick a game and kind of talk about it.
So I picked Pinball of the Dead for the Game Boy Advance.
Pinball of the Dead. Nice.
An underappreciated, underknown, but relatively cheap and not super hard to find game.
Yeah.
It's a pinball game made by Sega,
Uh-huh.
based on the House of the Dead franchise.
Yeah, House of the Dead, which is from arcade, Sega,
Zombies, yeah.
Sega Saturn, and Dreamcast. Very popular, totally campy light gun game, which of course would go to a handheld pinball game. Super weird.
It is super weird.
Super weird.
Published by THQ, I think. But
Yeah, the defunct THQ.
but
Which stands for?
the HQ.
No, this is actually fine. That toy company. That's
Oh,
literally what it stands for.
really? I did not
Because
know
it
that.
started out as a toy company.
Well,
You know how I know this? Our friend Norman Caruso, the gaming historian, who was on 2 episodes ago. If you want to go listen to that, when we had a little fireside chat, that was a fun episode.
so Pinball of the Dead, it has zombies. It has pinball. It's got 3 tables, but all the tables are multi-level tables with, side quests and
Yeah.
mini games and all those kinds of things. It's a well put together game.
You still kill zombies. In
I
it.
can spend tons of time on it. It plays well. It's fun. It's simple.
Yeah.
Perfect handheld game.
Yeah.
Pinball of the Dead.
Pinball of the Dead. And you still kill zombies by like flipping your little balls in
Yeah,
the
and
flipper,
it
so
was zombies before zombies were cool. I mean,
was.
before they were everywhere.
This was 2003 it came out.
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Before Walking Dead and zombies everywhere.
Yeah, and the Game Boy Advance has some nice pinball games. They're not the ones you'd think are nice because like Pokemon Pinball and Mario Pinball.
Not great.
Mario Pinball is great, but have you played that one on?
I have.
Game Boy?
I mean, Mario Pinball. I like Mario Pinball, but it is strictly a pinball game, not the greatest pinball game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon Pinball has a bad rap, or people don't like it. I haven't really played it, so I don't have a good opinion
Mario
on it.
Pinball, the one thing that breaks it for me is if your ball goes straight down the middle, you lose all your progress from
Yeah.
that stage. So it literally like levels up each stage. But as soon as your ball gets drained, you then go to the previous screen. And if it happens really quick and it goes straight down the middle, you go to that previous screen. So you can it's like the most busy work game. Like it's cool, it's well crafted, it's well made. But the downside, it's kind of like having when you lose a life, you lose like all of your weapons or something. It's that frustrating with how Mario Pinball works. But Pinball of the Dead is a great pick.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, so I really like that game. Play it. Let us know what you think about it, and pick it up for the Game Boy Advance. You can also play Game Boy Advance on the DS.
You can play it on the DS. You can play it on the Game Boy Advance player for the GameCube. You can play it on the Retron 5.
Yep.
You can play it on that Retrobit adapter for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, which I have which is made by Retro. Yeah, didn't you say Retrobit?
Yeah, Retrobit. Yeah, I think
Did you
so.
buy one of those?
I have not. I've been meaning to.
Okay, those are really inexpensive, guys. Like $30, and that way.
Super Game Boy's for old Game Boy. Never mind. Take
What's
that
that?
back.
Oh yeah, but they actually.
Yeah, but it's like a Super Game Boy.
It's like a Super Game Boy,
but
yeah.
It does Game Boy Advance.
Yep, and it'll work on your Super Nintendo. So listeners, if you have a Super Nintendo but not a Game Boy Advance, you can buy something for $30 and play a whole library of awesome games. All right, so my pick, I'm excited to suggest this one. So I like the PlayStation Portable. It's not my favorite handheld, but it's inexpensive, and
love PSP.
there's a lot of good games on it. It's kind of like it's a modern day Game Gear for me, underappreciated, but ultimately, if you dig in, it's a lot of fun and inexpensive. So I'm going to suggest for the handheld game this week a game called Grip Shift for the PSP. GRIPSHIFT. If you say it like by holding your tongue. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Grip Shift. It is a battle racing puzzle game. This is a game, if you like old school games, like puzzle games, you like racing games. It kind of like, if you're not a racing fan, but you like kind of puzzle games or kind of action-y platformers, you'll like this. If you like action-y platformers, but not really those, you'll kind of like this. If you like a puzzle game, it sounds like it's a mess, but it ends up playing really well. It calls itself a high-flying, stunt-driving, unique puzzle-solving action game. Pedal-to-the-metal driving experience players as you compete as characters, and you kind of jump around. I showed you a gameplay video of it. I mean, this is, it was an early released game. It came out, I think, within the first 3 or 4 months that this thing was released, but the graphics are great. It's super addicting. You can play it for a couple minutes. It's got this kind of Rocket League feel to it, where it's like you can just have fun with the car physics. But really fun game. If you own a PSP and you're collecting for it, you can find this game, and I highly recommend it. If you don't, you can yell at me, but I know that won't happen because you're going to like this game. And yeah, Adam, you should pick it up, or I'll let you borrow mine.
I
or
should.
whatever.
Yeah, I've been playing my PSP a lot lately. I've been.
Oh, cool. What have you been playing?
I've been playing Patapon 2.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I love Loco Roco,
Yep.
which is a fun little cute...
We've been playing, Grayson and I have been playing Loco Roco like crazy on PS4.
Describe Patapon real quick.
So Patapon is a rhythm game.
Yep.
That's also an action simulation strategy warfighting game.
Whoa.
Yeah, something
That's
like
a
that.
lot.
So you fight battles with little people called Patapons who really like music.
Yep.
By inputting instructions to them through the use of musical notes.
This sounds like the most weird freaking game.
It's super weird.
Yeah.
It's Sony Japanese studios. They make the weirdest, coolest games.
Oh, yeah, they do? Yep.
They do. And Loco Roco actually is made by them too. But yeah, so you do these little 4-count beats with them. So you input your beats on the controller, and then they chant your beats back to you while they kill your foes.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's super addicting, and all the music in it is super stick in your head. And like all week long, I've been like, pata 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 pawn,
Oh,
shika
yeah.
shika shake, and even my kid has been singing it with me, and we all,
Annoying the heck out of your wife.
exactly, and my wife's going crazy. It gives you like a beautiful mental disorder. It's it's a good game. Everyone should play it.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's a good game, I guess, so kids can also kind of watch you play. Like you just
Yeah, no, he
suggested.
loves it. Yeah,
I'm still waiting for the day, like, okay, he's going to be a 5-month-old. Like, I wonder the first time he's going to kind of be enamored by, like, a video game and what it's going to be or something like that. It'll be kind of fun. It's obviously, he actually doesn't like, so far, like, we don't give him much screen time, but he likes Finding Nemo.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what it is. And, like,
It's all the colors.
yeah, or like instructional video. Like I noticed he only kind of gets like kind of when we're walking around or it's like 30 minutes before bedtime. You're kind of limited in what you could do. But we once saw like a cooking show where someone's describing cooking. And then also like Norm's thing, he talked about that. How he said he makes a bonus thing on his Blu-ray about like cooking barbecue.
Carolina barbecue.
Yeah, and I actually looked at it, and it was funny because all I was thinking was like, Kansas City barbecue is better than this stuff. But no, like he actually, right? Is that bad to say?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's just opinion.
Well, it's super like vinegary, and I actually want to try this. I
actually like the vinegary barbecue more
do you?
than Kansas City.
Really, you too?
I really do. Yeah, but I'm not from here, so there you go.
Okay, yeah. But it looks good, and like he does it well, but he explains it, and then like my kid is like watching this and just like loves watching, I guess, someone give instruction to how to do something. He's a very observant kid. It's kind of cool. He just kind of takes things in. You can't make him giggle worth a damn. Like I do everything. He smiles and opens his mouth.
Yeah,
but
he will
doesn't-
if you actually hurt yourself.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's-
kids love that.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot that. When I was a kid, it's funny you bring that up. When I was a kid, and let's say, okay, this would happen. My best friends had a younger brother, and that kid ruled the world because if that kid got sad or cried to his mom, we would both be in trouble. Like we would be 8, the kid would be 4 or 5. And if he would cry to his mom, we'd be in trouble no matter what it was. It was so annoying. But if he started to cry, we were in panic mode because that means we're going to get the Nintendo taken away.
Oh, no.
So when the little brother who's annoying the crap out of us
So you were
starts
like-
to
you were-
fall over and cry, we then realized how to make him laugh was by like doing pratfalls and stuff, like falling down, tripping each other,
yeah.
hitting ourselves in the
Slapstick.
face, slapstick stuff.
Yeah.
You're right. Like kids love to see people
They love
get
to
hurt.
see other people get hurt. Yeah.
I hate to say this, even me as an adult right now, I like that too. Like my wife,
It works. I mean, half of comedy is based on somebody else's pain.
my wife Laura she kind of is like, why does that, like when you watch people like hurt themselves, that makes you laugh so much? I'm
Watch
like, 'cause
America's Funniest Home Videos. I watch that show and cringe actually more than I laugh or anything.
Okay.
But yeah, the whole all of those video clip shows are just people like, oh, look at that, he's in an ICU.
Yeah.
All of the comedy is
Yeah.
based on other people getting hurt.
or Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, or something called Beastmaster on the Netflix right now, and it's free. It's sponsored by Netflix, and it's basically one of those like tournament of people who are like super in shape, triathletes or whatever.
Like, so people like me, basically.
Yeah, much like us, and when they bite it, they bite it hard, and I just crack up. I just like Can't stand it because when these guys have trained forever and they jump from one thing to another, and when they bite it and they like slam into it, and you could tell they get their wind knocked out of them. I just can't help but laugh. It cracks me up. Or that one video on YouTube with the guy. He says, "Your face," like it's foreign guy and this big guy with a big belly. He's cleaning a pool full of mud. Have you seen this?
I have not seen.
And
this, no.
he's like almost falling, but when you almost fall and you're sliding on something and your body goes everywhere, by the time he actually falls, it actually looks like it hurts, like he could have broken his face, but he slides and hits his face, and this middle-aged guy filming it just starts cracking up. He's like, "Oh, your face!" That's the whole video, and I watch that anytime I want to get a pick-me-up. All right, so moving on from that is our handheld minute. Let us know what you want to talk about. Hopefully you like the segment, or if not, let us know that too. Or if you think of a segment or something else you want to talk about, let us know. So moving on, we're going to talk about our new DOT dubs, a Dad of the Week.
Video game Dad of the Week.
Dad of the Week. And now like Breath of the Wild, BOTW. Everybody knows that. So now we're going to do the DOTW. So our Dad of the Week this week, we decided to pick this guy because he's exceptional at video gaming and he seems to be exceptional at dadding and sound like a perfect guy that we could suggest with our listeners that you can find him mainly on YouTube, on other social platforms. Mm-hmm. He's been a guest on some bigger YouTubers. But yeah, he just kind of stood out as a guy that, if you're listening to us, you might be interested in his content because he's an older guy, realist, and, loves his kids and does some interesting stuff. A guy by the name of John Riggs.
John Riggs.
Riggs. And I think his YouTube is called Rigged Games.
Yep.
And he says that because what does he do?
He works on stuff. He fixes things. He's a game fixer guy.
Yeah, he's kind of here's the way I think of him. He's kind of like a more approachable Ben Heck.
Yeah, sort of. He's a very down-to-earth guy that really likes, especially the NES, loves NES hacks and repros and taking old games that don't work anymore and making them work.
Yeah, and figuring things out and seeing how they work. Not stuff that I'm not necessarily up my alley, but I appreciate and like watching that happen. I should say, so not talking crap on Ben Heck. If you don't know him, Ben Heck is a uber nerd that is I actually followed Ben Heck back when he only had his blog and his forum, and he kind of like will make handheld versions of things that didn't have an offering of that. Like he made a handheld Super Nintendo, a handheld Dreamcast, and knows his electronic circuitry really well. He's taken apart the Sony PlayStation. Yeah. This Nintendo PlayStation, excuse me. Mm-hmm. And
got it working.
And got it working and figured things out. And but something also about Ben Heck is like he is so smart. I feel really dumb a lot of the times, to the point where I feel like, oh, I'd love to meet Ben Heck. Then I'm like, I also would feel like I wouldn't know what to talk to because he's like so smart and
the level of entry is high.
Yeah, the level of entry is very high with him. And John Riggs is kind of like that, but seems like such an everyday guy.
Yeah, he's very approachable,
very genuine guy. Yeah. Has a voice of gold, very nice, like good speaking voice.
Used to work in radio, from what I understand.
Yeah. So you can tell that he's got kind of a good radio presence to him. He's on some. He's part of the Northeast mecca of gaming people, us in the Midwest,
Portlandish area.
Yeah. I actually met him at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. You probably don't remember. I just came up and said, "Oh yeah, I saw you." And I guess he's a real tall guy, very good, but great personality, really nice, fun guy. I only talked to him for a minute or two, and it was before we even started the podcast. But it seems like a very genuine guy. The other thing that really kind of stood out, and something you kind of notice that he doesn't wear it on his sleeve, is he has 3 kids, and you can tell it's just a nice big part of his life.
Yes,
and that's part of being like the dad of the week. Is part of it's just like, hey, this is content that we like. We want to showcase it like we did with Bithead, and it's also like you can tell that family comes first, or there's at least some appreciation for that that then makes us guys like us appreciate. He's got 3 kids, and he's also been kind of open in saying that 2 of his kids are special needs. I think one more than the other. I don't know the names. We're going to say the names, but he talks about them freely on Twitter or on some of his videos. He's only, I think, recently started doing more YouTube videos where he tears stuff down. He'll have people send in broken games. So if you have like a broken game that's just sitting around, nothing you can do to work, you open it up, it looks fine. People actually will send their games to him, not for him to fix and send back, but just kind of to donate for his channel for him to make a video. Yeah. So he worked on custom carts and things. And it's just kind of neat to see him kind of figure out what's wrong with it. And he also kind of has instructional stuff. There's also, it's funny, his, even though his stuff's kind of like low budget, he just films it right in the middle of his house. And he's even talked about it like, I'm so busy all the time with kids, I can't really keep games out because my kids always kind of want to mess with them, and my curtain rod's like holding on by a string or something. Like, he really doesn't, he doesn't have much free time, which I can totally understand, because we have one of our guys who's obviously taking care of better matters right now. Shane, he's got 3 kids. That's super busy.
Yeah, super busy.
But he really appreciates his fans. Always has a good attitude. Interesting take on a lot of ideas when he talks about things, and very like-minded. Where you can tell some of the negative aspects of any kind of hobby or culture, he'll kind of point out and then give his idea of it. And it's very mature, kind of like us, like take the high road over the low road. And he's also like brought forth some things about autism, which has been big. We kind of read an article that also kind of stood out to us. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm talking about autism rather than autism awareness and that sort of thing, with more of a autism acceptance.
Yeah.
Knowing what autism is, how you respond to people with autism, make accommodation, and accept people.
Yeah. So it's Autism Awareness Month, and he kind of gave an interesting take and very freely talked about, kind of the struggles he deals with, and also kind of helping people understand, like, sometimes that kid that you think is just misbehaving, has autism. So just, be patient, be aware of that, be helpful. And also just kind of, being very transparent that, his kids come first. That was the other reason I picked him, was like, every time he gives a quick profile pic, the first thing he says is he's a dad, or he's this, or he's that. So he just seems like a very genuine guy, realizes he doesn't have much time for it, but of the time he gives, he creates content, which we can appreciate. And really just kind of an everyday average guy, which is a good way to say, hey, he's going to be our video game Dad of the Week.
Dad of the Week.
So check him out. Like I said, he's on Rigged Games. He's got a lot of YouTube content. He's on every once in a while on Metal Jesus Jason's channel, and guests of the other kind of Seattle people like that, like Kelsey and help me out, Reggie, sure,
John,
and, John Hancock, and all those kind of guys. If you know what we're talking about, they're kind of famous for retro video game talk and things like that. So if you're into YouTube, did I tell you once as a quick aside, like they said, I got feedback once like, oh, are you on YouTube? And I was like, I was going to start a YouTube and put our things on there, but the time it takes for everything we do, it's really hard to stay on top of social media. So that's why if you message us through Facebook, and we really just try to interact with you there, or maybe Twitter, it's hard to find time for it, that we haven't figured out a way to upload that on YouTube. But we'll even have people tell us that, like, who only don't listen to podcasts, when we went to that Super BitCon, say like, oh, I wish you did YouTube, but they would say at work they would just turn on YouTube and play it in their pocket and listen to it. And I said, that's a podcast. So like, imagine we were on YouTube and do the same thing. It was just funny because the kid was kind of just talking out loud. He's like, oh, I don't listen to podcasts, but I do, we don't have video, but we were going to put our podcast on YouTube just so you'd have it to listen to. And then he was saying how he watches YouTube tapes or how he watches YouTube vids is by like not watching it, but listening to it. And I said, well, you're already kind of doing the podcast thing. Check this out. It was a funny thing to like think about. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we would get a little bit more of an audience if we did do the YouTube thing. Who knows? We might in the future. But anyway, back to Mr. Riggs. Please check out his content. Let us know if you like it. Another one that I think creates great content. Seems like a great guy, great dad from everything that he puts forth. And also now we're going to give a little bonus. If you are the dad of the week, you're going to get a little care package. What do we want to call this?
Yeah, let's call it that.
Yeah, a little care package. We're going to send something out.
An attaboy.
An attaboy. Yeah. And we're also going to retrofit this and send one to our other video game dad that we picked earlier. So look for that out in the mail. Just a little something for us saying we appreciate you. You might be able to frame something. Who knows? Or just put it away and look at it, go, that's nice, and then put it away. Whatever you want to do with it.
Or burn it.
Or burn it, yeah. But anyway, a little bonus from us to you. So that is our video game dad of the week. I think we might even have one here coming up soon. If you want to make a suggestion for a dad of the week, doesn't have to be somebody technically famous. Just give us a nice story. It could be someone that you know, someone you appreciate, your own dad. Maybe your brother who you really appreciate. Any kind of story, let us know, and we will showcase them. It really just has to kind of loosely have to do with video games and
dadding.
And dadding, yeah, for the most part, yeah. Let us know.
Light bright, turn on the magic of colored lights. Light bright, make a face to glow at night. Smiling friends, shining bright, make a sign to say goodnight.
Just pop in the colored pegs and follow the patterns. It's easy to make your favorite pictures and characters, or you can always create your own light pictures.
Light bright, turn on the magic of shining light.
Light Bright from Milton Bradley.
All right. Thank you for that sponsor.
Yeah, thanks, Light Bright.
Yeah, Light Bright. Who'd have thought?
I wonder how many children have eaten those pegs.
That's what I was going to say. Light Bright, a way to take your kid to the emergency room. I'll leave my phone going. That's the one thing. If you leave a YouTube video or something going, it automatically goes to the next thing. Did you have a Light Bright?
My sister did. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the little pegs are deadly.
Yeah, they are.
They're sharp on one end.
Step on one.
Yeah,
Yep.
you step on one and it goes in your foot.
But super fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, thanks, Milton Bradley. I mean, we appreciate everything you do for us. We got to play with the old sponsor thing since we make fun of it all the time.
Sure. So we're gonna move on to what we got.
Yeah, kind of what we got, what we're playing. We kind of, we are crazy collectors. If you don't know, Shane and Adam and myself are, connoisseurs of the fun video game stuff. We like to collect games, and that's a natural thing to happen when you don't have time. You just start buying these things.
You accumulate.
So sorry if we're creating bad habits, but anyway, I'm sure there's, you could be doing worse things with your time and money. So what have you been picking up and playing?
Well, I had a really big pickup here recently.
Oh, you mean that large pickup?
Yeah, so I have a habit of buying in bulk sometimes.
Yeah.
When the price is good.
Yeah, I would do it too. You just seem to come up with opportunities to buy in bulk.
I don't know how it happens, but every now and then I walk into something where
they just see you and they know this guy needs mass.
Yeah, I guess. So I there's a pawn shop that I go to sometimes, and
is this describe it? Affluent neighborhood, seedy pawn shop?
This is in a small town in the middle of nowhere.
All right.
But they tend to have quite a few games there, and they tend to make me a pretty good price on them, which is why I go back. And
yeah.
I actually, about a year ago, picked up about 30 boxed NES games from them that
Nice.
a guy had just brought in, and I got them for dirt cheap.
Yep.
And some of the games were really sought-after games, too. So I've kind of been going to them intermittently ever since. And I went and they had taken all of their Xbox 360 and PS3 games because nobody wants those things anymore. They're worthless.
Yeah.
And I'm being a little bit sarcastic here if you can't tell. But they were like, well, everybody wants PS4. They either want really old or they want really new. They don't want
This in-between stuff. Yeah. Which, as an aside, is the best stuff to collect.
Exactly. That's the best
as far
thing
as
to
price.
collect.
Yeah.
So they said, we're just trying to get rid of all of them. I was like, oh, how many games do you have? And some of them had already sort of been bundled up and that sort of thing. But they had what turned out to be 310 Xbox 360 and PS3 games.
That's like a huge collection.
That's a big collection.
And you got them all.
And I bought all of them.
Heck yeah.
because they were $2 a piece.
Because that's how you drop the mic. Because you go in there and say, I'll take them all.
Sort of. They kind of said, you want all of these? And I said, they're all $2 a piece, right? And they said, well, only if you take all of them. And I said, well, I guess I'm taking all of them.
So you got all those games for $2.
So I got every one of those games for $2 a piece.
That's crazy because, I mean, there's some good games in there.
Yeah, I have some of them. But yeah, the average price of a game in there is quite a bit higher than that. So
Yeah.
I've got some use for these later on. I'm going to take them to some conventions and things. And,
Yeah.
and try to sell off a good chunk of them.
And I traded with you for a little bit. We do that every once in a while. We trade some games of stuff here and there. Like I ended up trading you. I got. I'm not a big fan of the cardboard in the box stuff, and I picked up a pristine copy of
Mario Tennis
for the GBA, and so there was a couple games I didn't have, so we traded a little bit of that. But yeah, that's quite a big pickup, man.
Yeah, it was about 200-ish PS3 games and like 120-ish 360 games.
Yeah, cool.
So
Good trade bait and good fodder and whatever else
so
for
anyway,
conventions.
I'll find something to do with them all of them in the meantime. But
Make a Game of Thrones throne out of them.
I do, or I could stack them like dominoes and push them over, but they're rounded on the corner, so that doesn't really work.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It would
at
be
all.
cool if it did.
But they're all also not, they seem to be pretty like complete.
Yeah,
and it's not like they're ragtag and
they're almost all complete and they're almost all in good shape.
Something that can't be lost on this. I didn't see any real sports games in there.
No, they're like
that's the weirdest thing.
No sports
that is
games.
so weird.
I don't think they bought sports games. I think if people
you're
brought
right.
in Maddens and stuff, they just said, "We can't sell them. Please take them home with you."
Yeah, you're right because looking through those stacks, and I just looked through all those stacks.
Good.
There's like 2 or 3 sports games.
Yeah, and the sports games that are in there are the esoteric, weird, non-common sports games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so anyway, really, really good lot. Very happy to pick them up. So, boom.
Yeah, freaking great.
And so I got those, and I picked up a couple other things. I got the Metal Gear collection for PS3 that has like all of the Metal Gears.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think up through Metal Gear 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I guess through 4 is on it. But it's like, and it's even got some of the spin-off Metal Gears on it as well. VR Missions, I think, is on there, and some other things.
Cool.
So I got that. On PS4, I kind of went old schooly.
Uh-huh.
And I got Loco Roco, which I already mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and is that an import?
It's an import.
Okay.
I think it's a Japanese release.
Which it's region free, so
Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
it has English in it. It has full English.
Cool.
So I got that, and my kid loves it. You can put it on motion control, so you can use the controller to control everything. And so I put it on motion control, and he plays it, and the little things sing, and it's awesome.
Awesome.
And I got Parappa the Rapper
Nice.
HD remaster.
That game is hard. I
It
don't like
is. It's super hard. I need to go back and finish it. I'm near the end of it though. I think.
Did you get past Cheap?
No, I'm not sure. Well, I guess maybe I'm midway through.
Okay. Because if you get past Cheap, I will.
It is
be
hard,
surprised.
and it's almost misleading, the little timing counter at the top
Yeah,
of it. But
it's weird.
yeah, but I really like Parappa.
Yeah.
So I got
Yeah,
Parappa.
I
I
have
also,
good memories of that game. I bought it. It was one of my first. I got that, and Tomb Raider 2 is my first PlayStation, and Wrath of Cortex. And that's another game you got.
I got the Crash Insane trilogy for PS4,
which has been insanely popular.
it has crazy.
It's
popular.
been selling really well.
Yeah, and
Did we talk about this last episode? I don't think so. Yeah. So have you played it yet?
yeah. I played
Oh.
I played a good way into one.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. I read an article recently that's really interesting. Some people have been saying it plays a little differently. What the developers did was they went backwards, and because each of the games, Crash Bandicoot games were like platforming games on the original PS1. The first game was, least polished. They learned from each one. But what they did was the mechanics and the jumping and the physics were different in the third one, but different, likely better. What they did was they started with that for the base for all 3 games and made all games control kind of like the third one. And the first one was a lot harder, so they also knew that since they kind of made the fall rate, basically the fall rate of Crash Bandicoot in the third one was a little faster than it was back in the day. So because of that, they counteracted it being slightly harder by putting in more save states in the first game. I read that. So that was kind of interesting.
And I don't have I played them back in the day, but I was not a huge Crash Bandicoot.
Okay.
I was still sour because of the Mario thing.
Oh, the commercial?
Yeah.
I like that commercial. Hey, plumber boy.
Yeah, so I played Crash back in the day, but not a lot.
Okay.
So I'm not familiar enough with it to get all bent out of shape about like little timing issues and that sort of thing.
Me neither.
It is a hard game, as an aside.
I'm excited to play
it.
it. Like I actually, as soon as it goes on sale or something, I'm really excited to play it. It's been interesting to see how many people are excited about the game.
Yeah, but I like it. It's been good. But
I've beaten Wrath of Cortex, the second Crash 2. I like 100%ed back when I was how old was I at that point? Middle school or something. And I really like Crash 2, so I would love to like play a futuristic version of that. And it's a tough game. Very neat.
it's tough. I mean, it's old school,
Yeah, now you're getting into this weird retro thing. I thought it's interesting because this kind of nostalgia is different for us, but to some people, this is the equivalent of Atari and NES.
Correct.
And now you're getting people who are kind of like getting nostalgia for a game at a younger age that reminds us of us getting nostalgic for Super Mario World, and they're
exactly.
doing it for this game. I was not anticipating that. I thought this would be a whole lot of what's this game? But really, it's just this weird kind of interesting new generation of retro enthusiasts.
Sure.
Because this game is retro. Freaking weird.
Yeah, it is weird, but it's a fun game. But I got those, and at the same time I got Nier Automata for the PS4.
Oh,
as
super
well.
jelly. I want that.
Yeah, I have not cracked the wrapper on it yet, but will at some point.
I have
in the
heard
near
people
future.
who play that just like it a lot.
Yeah, I played the demo through it, and the demo was, if it's anything
I told
like,
you to play
Yeah,
that demo. I've
yeah.
only played the demo. That
yeah,
thing is
if it's anything like the
legit.
demo, it's going to be super awesome, and I'm going to really enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I've been playing that. I've been playing some more God of War 3. And I mentioned that I had been playing PSP some lately with Patapon 2. Actually ordered Patapon 1 the other day, brand new from Amazon for like $5.
Yeah, free shipping.
Still in the shrink wrap.
Yeah, I've noticed that. There's like some PSP games like Family Hits or something. Fat Princess, Patapon, I want to say Loco Roco, and Siphon Filter. And you can get like a Siphon Filter 2-pack for PSP shipped for like $8, which
Yeah.
is kind of, I mean, for, you could get that maybe. That's
new.
really inexpensive for a brand new
But people
game.
sometimes ask us like, oh, what systems would you recommend collecting for or are cool to collect for, whatever.
Yeah.
PSP is way up there. I mean,
I think so too. Some people,
yeah.
though, the one downside, you get those used discs, they kind of fall apart.
Oh yeah, if you can get the disc in good shape,
Yeah.
and
Because they use the glue.
and there's still a
yeah.
fair number of games out there that never been played or played very sparingly.
Yeah.
I just kind of pick them up here and there when I find them for nothing. And a lot of the time, if you go into a resale store or whatever else, nobody's buying PSP games. I mean, they've been sitting there forever, and
Yeah.
people just want to get rid of them a lot of the time, so they'll sell them to you for nothing.
Yeah, and there's the one thing, it's good with the bad. The thing about the PSP I'm not a big fan of. I got this thing at like launch or whatever,
Yeah, I did
2005.
as
I
well.
loved it. I remember it was like I showed my mom and I was like, oh, she's still like, I said it was so cool, and it was to have like that cool little mini disc thing, which looked like the disc from Demolition Man, if you remember, like how they held
Yep.
data. It's just basically like a mini disc. And of course, Sony's, so it's proprietary and it's expensive, and the loading time and the battery life. That's just it. It's the loading time. So you take a handheld, a thing that you want to take on the go, and since you have an optical media, you are now crippling it with loading time. And some of the early games, because I remember I like the
Yeah,
sports
some of the
games.
other games do have a lot of loading.
Yeah, and that's a killer. That's a killer because when you go back and forth from playing Game Boy to playing that, and you're sitting there and like, freaking, it's a loading screen. I'm holding this in my hands.
Yeah.
And then you naturally look at the world and all the more
I mean, as
interesting.
as an aside, I actually still like the DS better in 3DS.
Oh, okay.
But I really like the PSP.
Yeah,
and
interesting.
but I think it's really underrated. There's a lot of really cool games on it that
Yep.
nobody played.
I played recently Indiana Jones Staff of the King. Played through that one day when my wife was like watching one of her shows that I have no interest, like one of those vampire-y shows. Vampire love, random, not based in any kind of real world stuff. I was like, I better play something. And that was a lot of fun. Yeah, PSP is a good thing to collect for.
So I'm trying to think of anything else I played. I got Lego City Undercover for my kiddo.
Cool.
He's
Grand Theft Auto child version.
Yeah, I just want to get him started early. you know. But yeah, it's just Lego stuff. He runs around, does things. I mean, he's still 3.5, so he doesn't really know exactly what he's doing, but he can still interact, you know, pick up Lego pieces, and he still has a ton of fun. He begs to play it all the time, which is great because now I use that game as a if you do this, I might let you play Lego City Undercover later.
Nice bribery.
It is. So I bribe him with this game, and basically it is the instrument of my parenting right now. so thank you,
looks,
Lego City
dude,
Undercover.
I would love that game. I mean,
I would have loved it when I was a kid for sure.
Does he still like have you ever tried to get him into the retro? We talked about this, or is he just like what old game does he like?
Oh, really, any of them. The problem with old games and kids, like little bitty kids, is that they're so hard. Like he just can't play any of them really.
No, yeah.
And so I've tried to, more so than trying to make or get him into like quote unquote retro, I've tried to think of things that are like, okay, what can he play where he's not going to die constantly and get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, Yoshi's Woolly World, which I've talked about, Lego City Undercover, you know, those kinds of games where he can just sort of wander around and not you know, basically have a good time and not really have an aim or a purpose, but just be able to interact and play with it. I mean, honestly, I ought to just go ahead and get him Minecraft at this point. But
I know, but you don't like Minecraft. You let us know that on many episodes.
I'm anti-Minecraft,
which is hilarious because, like, you know, in your job, you have to be a little creative here and there, and that's all that game is.
Oh, I know. No, I like to hate on it. And it's not that I hate Minecraft. It's that I don't.
You hate the phenomenon?
No, I don't get it. That's the because it's not. It's not goal oriented. I hate non-goal oriented, like open.
Yeah, you don't. How far did you get on Breath of the Wild? I haven't played it yet.
I have probably put maybe 50 hours into it.
Oh, so you have put a
I put a fair amount into it.
That's crazy because like that's enough you could have.
I'm maturing in. I think.
But okay, so you put 50 hours in Breath of the Wild. So my next question is, do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah,
it's not, but it is not my favorite Zelda. It's everyone's favorite Zelda. I still like some of the other Zeldas better than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that makes sense if you're not an open world fan. But even your was kind of like, yeah, it's good. I will, now that you said 50 hours into that, dude, play Horizon. Please. So you and I can geek out on Horizon.
I will. I honestly don't own it yet. I haven't bought it yet.
Oh, okay. It's for sale right now at the Gamers Club.
I know. I've seen it for like $30.
It's how much it is right now if you get it on Best Buy. Best Buy's having a really good sale. You know, if you're part of that Gamers Club Unlocked, all of the games are 20% off, which adds up. You can get games for like $7-8.
The new game that comes out tomorrow, as of this recording, that I'm going to get into is Splatoon 2.
Oh, okay.
For the Switch.
So I want you to sell me on something here because you just talk crap on Minecraft, and now you're talking about what essentially to me looks kind of like a kid's game.
Correct.
And, you know, we're older guys, but it obviously has somewhat captured you. So tell me why you like Splatoon.
Well, so to be clear, I own almost every Wii U game, minus a few.
Yep.
And I still have not played Splatoon 1.
Okay.
So I'm not captivated by it. The reason I'm going to get it is because I think A, I can play it with my kid.
Yep.
And then B, that's really the main reason. But B, Shane wants to play it, and he wants to play it together with us and his kids.
Ah.
So I'm buying it as a
way to interact with a friend.
A way to interact with friends and family.
Gotcha.
That's what Splatoon 2 is.
Okay, makes sense.
Yep.
If I own Splatoon 1 now recently too, and I've yet to crack into it because if you're listening, you know, Adam is going after a complete set. We all own a Wii U kiosk. Super weird. And I got my last one from one of our listeners. Thank you very much, Mr. Librarian. Anyway, we all have a Wii U kiosk. And I started to think, okay, I'll get a Wii U. So I got one, and I started getting the games, and I got just about all the games. We traded for Breath of the Wild for the Wii U, so eventually I'll break into that too. But yeah, I haven't quite had the urge. Maybe that'll be the next game I get into because
it looks fun. I mean, I know that I would have really enjoyed it when I was a kiddo.
Yeah, and since we're talking about the Wii U, if you don't mind, I'll say quickly something I did, not a pickup or anything, but I beat Bayonetta 2.
Ooh.
I talked about that maybe last episode or the episode before that I really liked that, and I've only played 2 games for the Wii U so far. I've collected a lot of them. What I still cannot stand is it's really hard to collect for Nintendo consoles and get deals. And I'm used to getting deals and like saving money to get your releases, to get more releases.
Collect PlayStation or Xbox if you want deals.
Yeah. Nintendo, you could still do it. You can buy in lots and resell stuff. It's just a lot harder. Like if it's Nintendo first party, $30. It's like, okay, it's like, and they do their selects where they're 20, but don't think you're going to get it for 10. You're going to get it for like 10. And it's like, okay, dang.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hard sometimes because like, I'm a Nintendo/PlayStation guy, but like, the Uncharted collection for PS4, you get it for like $10 right now.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And it's 3 great games. I mean, maybe the first one isn't great, but 2 and 3 are great.
You can get it now for $7.99.
Yeah, for less than $10,
a physical copy.
Games. And then the PSN sales and everything else. I keep telling myself like, I'm not going to buy so many PlayStation games, but then I walk into a pawn shop and there's like, first tier games for $2 a piece. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah, YOLO. So Bayonetta 2, I beat it and I stayed up late. This is, I think we'll talk about this on a segment for more of the shows, like finding time to play. Now that life is getting super busy and we've had these I'm realizing it. Like when you said you played Uncharted 4 over the course of months, and before I had a kid, the long gaming sessions, kind of a thing of the past. Don't get me wrong. I love hanging out with my wife and the kid.
Yeah, I play a lot of arcade games. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's just you do break it up. Like I said, like Horizon. Really want to beat that game. I talk about it all the time. I've been kind of stuck because I've been wanting to... I just haven't had as much time, right? But obviously I'm filling that time with cool stuff, like hanging out with this new human we created.
Sure.
That does nothing to help me out at all. All he does is... go potty a lot, but obviously all that stuff is worth it, and he fills us with great joy. But one of the sacrifices is the free time to like exercise. So I don't think this is a good idea yet. I'm going to try this out as far as making time, and I'm the only one of the dads that kind of has a more 9 to 5 for the most part, like a typical 9 to 5, which I used to not have that, but now that I do, it's really hard to like. I'm kind of deciding there's going to be one day a week where I just stay up kind of late.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of bites because I drive a lot right now, and even all the stuff I do, I have to be pretty well rested. But I'm kind of deciding like Tuesday, Wednesday night, I kind of like, and wife's kind of understand, I'm not come to bed too early. And I stayed up to beat Bayonetta because I'm just like, you know what? I want to beat this game. I really like it. I want to see where this goes. I kind of want to get done with it because I'm a guy where it's hard for me to move on to another game until I finish it. And have you beaten it?
No, I'm not. I played a good ways into it.
Yeah, it's really fun. It gets even more crazy and even more epic.
It's super weird.
Yeah, but just the exposition stuff is really good. I think it's one of the few games that ended really well. Like, we didn't talk about that, but Shadowrun, the game of the video game, what's French? Video game book club. We have so many names for things. I was just called it everything under the sun. The ending of Shadowrun is not good. Have you looked at it?
I didn't get anywhere near that. No, I didn't.
I mean, I don't want to spoil it. If you know, what?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. It's just you fight this big dragon thing, and it's like you can spam it a certain way, and it's really uneventful, and then you get kind of a text scroll. Ending. I say that, right? I'm judgy, but like it would be hard to end a game. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. It's probably hard to end something you're working on.
Yeah, the best ending in a video game ever is Castlevania 1.
What's the ending there?
It was directed by a guy whose name is a curse word. They snuck in
oh, really?
Yeah, they snuck in a curse word,
like as an Easter egg.
As an Easter egg.
Interesting. I wish it was Castlevania 1's not included on the NES Classic, is it?
I don't know.
One of the Castlevania.
I don't believe so. You can YouTube it really easily, but
I wonder if that's why they didn't include it. I think they included like the lesser known NES Castlevania on the Classic.
Yeah. You know what's the worst? Honestly, the ending that was the most disappointing on Earth to me was the original Battletoads, because I never was good enough, still not good enough to beat the game.
Don't feel bad. No one is.
No.
Game's hard.
It's brutally hard. But
yeah.
But if you beat the game, if you cheat, which is what the vast majority of people have to do to beat the game, so they put cheat codes where you can warp ahead levels and things into the game.
Okay.
But if you use the cheat codes and you get to the end of the game and you beat the end of the game, it tells you, oh, you cheated. So I remember playing it so you don't get to see the end.
Oh.
And I remember being a kid and like playing it. And I always enjoyed playing it, but just being really frustrated, that I couldn't get any further than what I could get.
Yeah.
And then I was finally like, oh, there's a code. And then I put the code in, and then I was like, I'm finally going to get to see the end of this. And it's like, no, you can't, because you cheated. You're a loser. The end.
Let me ask you, which part could you not get past? The part where you go down the pit or the driving thing?
I could get past the driving thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
That's not
I
easy.
think I could remember getting, but that's only like the third or fourth level.
It is.
in
I
the
know.
game.
It's
Like,
only the
not
third
that
level.
far into it.
It's not.
I think it was the level. I think it was the one with the snakes. If I'm not mistaken, but it's been so long ago now, which is still fairly far into the game, but it's infuriating.
Oh, yeah.
But finally to be like, oh man, I remember being so excited when I got the code, putting it in, and then beating the game, and then it was like, no, you still can't see the end because you cheated.
Yeah. It just reminds me, like, Tomb Raider. I think the second Tomb Raider. Do you know the ending of this?
No, I didn't play any of the old Tomb Raider.
Oh, you didn't? Ah, man, they do not.
I hated those 3D glitchy games like on
they don't.
PS1
Yeah, they don't
like that.
age.
I stayed away from those. Just
Yeah,
in
they
general.
they don't age well, but like they were really cool and different, and like that and Resident Evil. There's a place for them for sure. It would be hard to play now because the control is just wacky. But at the end, she like takes a shower, and they would hint at this in all the video game scenes, like she's about to and. If you don't know, Lara Croft, played by Angelina Jolie, so you kind of know she's shapely, and she's like, intelligent heroine that they did a lot of stuff. They had like nude patches, but it was all computer mods. That was before people understood what mods and patches are. People thought it was a code you can unlock to make her nude or whatever, and it's just like, okay, come on, polygons. But at the very end, she takes a shower and she's about to disrobe. And then all of a sudden she turns her gun at the camera and then it like ends. And that's the ending of Tomb Raider 2.
How stupid.
Yeah. I know. It's kind of like the devs just kind of let out like, oh, if they were trying to say like, oh, she's a female protagonist. No, she's just a symbol for something. And it's just like, it's kind of funny. So yeah, ending a video game, not the easiest thing. But anyway, Bayonetta has done really well. Kind of really cool story. Style up the wazoo, has both style and substance. If you have a way to play maybe the first or second one, obviously if you have a Wii U, it's a must buy, and you can get the copy of the first one with the second one.
Yep.
Yeah, it costs a little more, but still really, really good game. Any other pickups you got?
I think those are the main ones. I mean, I got a couple limited runs in the mail. But
yeah, I did too. I still keep up with those limited runs. They're good. We're still waiting for Night Trap.
Still waiting on Night Trap.
Yep.
Still waiting on Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy and Night Trap, both of them.
Yeah, I think they're coming out soon. That's exciting. It's always fun. It's neat. They're always like maybe $25, which are already less than half of a normal game. They're fun.
Yeah, but significantly more than they are on PSN.
Yeah,
For
usually.
digital
Yeah.
only, yeah.
Yeah, but collector's life, thug life. I ended up getting Stardew Valley.
Oh, yeah, I want to play that.
Yeah.
I would like it.
That was on sale, and that's harkens back to like an old
Harvest Moon.
Yeah, Harvest Moon type thing. Another game called like something Heroes, Has Been Heroes or something like that for PS4 that was on sale. I grabbed that, but I'm starting to, and I think we'll talk about it more in the next episode. I'll write in. I've started to give myself a little bit of a budget, and that's been different. And it's kind of like a self-made budget to spend on games, which I haven't done before. But it's kind of, I already have a lot of games, but it's kind of interesting to like say, wait, maybe I shouldn't do that. I'll hold on to it because, in the last few years and probably fueled by us all being friends, we're always like, yeah, grab it, get it, get that next thing. But we have like a ton of games. At this point, we really need to start playing them, especially when we have less time to do so. The other thing besides Bayonetta 2 and our video game book club picks, we don't have much time to play. But when I started playing Super Nintendo, I went back and played Pilot Wings.
Oh, yeah.
Did you play the Super Nintendo Pilot Wings?
I have not in a long time, but I have played it quite a bit.
Yeah, I just have a lot of really neat nostalgia for that game. Same with the 64 one.
I love the 64 one.
Good.
Actually.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I do too. I have again. That's another one where if I see the nostalgia, or if I hear the sound, and the soundtrack for the 64 one is really interesting. It's this weird kind of techno jazz. But when I hear that weird, like that weird music, it totally brings me back to playing in my buddy's basement when we were younger and carefree and didn't have much to do. And just like, that's a game where you explore, which is funny. I don't know if Minecraft's like that too, because Minecraft, a lot of it, it's like there's no goal, but you explore. And Pilot Wings, yeah, there's a lot of goals to it, but if you play as like the Birdman thing where you're just flying around,
Yeah.
and the water, I remember like, do you remember this? You can tell how good a game looked by the water effects.
Yeah.
And now, of course, Pilot Wings 64, the water doesn't look great. But I remember me and my buddy were like, oh my God, it looks so real and all this kind of stuff. Like the water effects were so fun. You can play as a rocket pack, but you also had that fun cannon mini
So I was going to
game.
say, the cannon mini game in that is the best
so
thing
good.
ever made. Yes.
Yeah. And then you could change the camera angles and stuff. When you hit Mount
I wish
Rushmore.
so bad they would just make a good online version of that.
Yeah, or like make a new one. Oh, wait, they did make a remake of that for the 3DS.
3DS, yeah. But I'm talking just the canon game. If they just made the canon game where you could play against people online somehow, that would be a ton of fun.
You know a game that you might like if you kind of like that? I don't know if you ever played. They're making a new one, I think for PS4. No, I'm going really weird on this. It's called Flat Out. Flat Out is a game that came out for that generation of like Xbox and PS2 where it's a driving game, but when you crash...
Oh yeah,
you fly out of the car like ragdoll physics, and you're the body of your drive. It's like a driving game, but when you crash, like literally, then your camera follows your body ejected from the car. Kind of morbid, and I think there was a little bit of controversy behind this thing because it goes. Then you just like reset, and it's a normal driving game. But they had mini games, realizing like probably when they were playing with it. You actually get set up on big ramps and like bullseyes, and you're basically like playing bullseye with your body and crashing into something, which launches you.
I remember an iPhone game that was kind of based on this.
Oh, really?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So there's Flat Out 1 and Flat Out 2, really inexpensive games for that generation. But they're making, I think, like Flat Out 3 or 4 for the PlayStation 4. It comes out soon. So it's just interesting because that game I don't think would do too well now, but who knows? But anyway, that kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, Pilot Wings was fun. And I played the Super Nintendo. I'm better at it now than I was before. But man, skydiving.
Oh, it's hard.
Skydiving kills me.
Yeah, skydiving is so hard. I remember always doing great until I get to skydiving. And
Yeah.
then, the rocket pack can be pretty darn hard too.
Yeah.
It's all drifty.
It's one of the only simulators for, attempted simulator for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Super Monkey Ball?
A little
Or
bit.
Monkey Ball 2?
A little bit.
On like GameCube?
A little bit.
Generally, like especially like Monkey Target and those guys.
Oh.
And those kinds. It's so funny to say Monkey Target out loud, but if you like
It is, yeah.
if you like the Pilot Wings, Target type games, Monkey Target. When I was in college, me and the guys would play Monkey Target like nobody's business.
Yeah.
That was a ton of fun.
College, man, playing, we just 64 all the time.
Yeah, 64 and then Cube.
Yeah.
For me.
And it's funny, they were really popular in college, but those games were all $10 or less.
Yeah.
And even that would be kind of like, it's $10. Like, it's just.
Yeah, I know. We'd be
it's
like,
a new
classes
era.
in 20 minutes. Let's play some Monkey Target.
Yep. GoldenEye.
And GoldenEye.
Yep. GoldenEye. And what's the other one?
Mario Kart 64 is what we
Yeah.
wore out. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then Smash Brothers and Melee.
Yep. Yeah. And in fact, when we go to St. Louis, my old roommate from college is going to be there, and I instantly started thinking like, oh man, I just want to play Mario Kart with it, because it was funny. Like he was, it's funny to like, we're crazy. Can we just say that about games? It's funny to then meet people who like only played a couple games, but they played them really well. He played Mario Kart and he played Zelda Ocarina of Time. Those are the only games he played, but he played them like really well. Like he even challenged me. I'm pretty dang good at Mario Kart 64. And like him and me were always like neck and neck all the time, and it was so fun to like play against somebody like right at your equal level of like Tecmo, because it kind of sucks. Like Tecmo Super Bowl, I am so good at that game. I've yet to find anybody that gives me any kind of real challenge, and then people don't want to play with me because I annihilate them. But when you find someone that's kind of about your equal, oh man, it's like being a gladiator, I imagine. I don't know. We're not
The closest we're gonna
master-
get.
Yeah, it's like we're saying all this stuff like we do boxing on TV. We don't do any of that stuff. And it's like this is the equivalent of being like a really competitive athlete. It's ridiculous. But anyway, that's kind of, I think, mainly it from me. I picked up some more Game Gear games. I'll probably go more into that because I haven't had much time to play them, but I'm picking those things up for nothing. I love, that is still one of the only things you can go into a video game store and ask for it, and like the staff don't even know where they are, and they're hard to find, and people don't even know what you're asking for. You can get them for so friggin' cheap. It's awesome. And then did you Sega came out with Mario came out with the Mario Run for the phones, there has been some Sega phone games.
Yep.
And it's called Sega Forever.
Sega Forever. Yeah,
and I found this kind of randomly, but they're free games that you can download on your phone, so you can try them out. And they're old Sega games like Sonic. I ended up
Crazy Taxi.
Well, wait, and there's also like Phantasy Star, I think, and RPG Good. But the two games I ended up downloading, which again it's free, is Kid Chameleon and what was the other one? Oh, Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
All right, so like Kid Chameleon, I really like that game, but man, the control is floaty.
Sonic CD.
Okay, Sonic CD, great.
Comic Zone.
Comic
it
Zone.
Looks like
Yep.
Virtua Tennis.
Wait, what?
I don't know. I'm looking here on my iPhone.
Hold on, show me Virtua Tennis. I did not. Oh my lord.
Virtua Tennis Challenge. I'm sorry.
Oh, challenge.
It's some scaled down version.
Crap. I was going to get excited. That game is legit. The bee's knees for the Super Nintendo, Virtua Tennis. I played that on a kiosk randomly at
Yeah, but
Best Buy.
Crazy Taxi on your phone is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I showed it to you, I think.
Yeah.
So like I thought this would be a dumbed down, watered down version that does not have the Offspring in it, because if you know Crazy
You're not
Taxi,
you're not talking about Babies. You're talking about a punk band from the 90s, Offspring.
Punk band from the 90s, Offspring, that goes hand in hand with Crazy Taxi. It's that yeah, and it's just like you hear that song.
Yeah, you can't have Crazy Taxi without that song.
Yeah, just that is the game. So I thought for sure there's no way that's in the game. It is. And BD Joe.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, it's like everything is exactly the same as it was. I loved Crazy Taxi. Crazy Taxi 2 was probably a very good game, and it was a neat sequel, but I just know the locations of Crazy Taxi. It's a real arcadey game where all you do is literally just taxi around people from one place to another.
It was Uber the game before Uber.
Very good. Yeah, that's basically all it was. But the graphics and everything totally like it was on the Dreamcast, which is kind of crazy to think like my phone is basically like a Dreamcast, which it isn't, but if it can run that game, it kind of is, it's just
yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, so check those out. I think it's kind of interesting. Like I said, I only download those two games, and Kid Chameleon, unfortunately, when you're not playing with a controller, it's already hard to control with a controller. When you're just playing on like non-physical buttons, it's neat and it's free, so I'm not going to complain. I think it's you can get it without ads if you pay a little bit of money. That's kind of it for I think maybe most of our episode. As we always do, though, I think and sorry if we didn't get any of your emails in this time. We'll put it in next time. But anytime you guys leave us a review, especially iTunes or any place that you find us, that helps kind of grow our audience, and that's all we do this for. Obviously, this is free content. We wouldn't charge anybody for this because it's just we enjoy doing it. We enjoy the interaction with our audience, and hearing your stories, it helps motivate us to keep on going, especially Shane as well. He loves listening to this and listening to your comments and things like that, especially with this time him and his family are going through. If you can leave us a review on iTunes, we really appreciate it, and then we'll read it on the air. Do we got some here?
Oh yeah, we do. A couple here.
Yeah.
So here we have a review by Smoked and Meaty.
Smoked and Meaty
left us this one.
All right.
It says, great podcast with some smart guys. The guys are very knowledgeable about all things console gaming. I'm a dad also that grew up with these games. Hearing them talk about them made me dig up my old systems and play some great old games.
There we go. Hear it again. That's
Boom.
awesome.
And here we go. If you like hearing middle-aged guys talk about retro gaming, then you will not be disappointed by this podcast.
Is this a different review?
Yeah, different review. Sorry,
Okay.
this is by JCAU99.
Oh, JC. Yes,
Yeah.
of course. He was a guy we know him because we kind of shouted him out last episode. The why are you listening to this podcast? He's great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fun guy, great content. Yeah.
If you like near middle-aged guys talking about retro gaming and you are a father, then you will love this podcast. I am listening to these guys every other week. My favorite father is Ben because he has the voice of an angel.
Oh, that's too nice.
I think Shane is the most fertile, as he seems to have a new kid about every other episode.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Adam is the captain of the Oceanic Boating Service as he travels the four seas to check out the best in retro games. Check these three guys out.
That's a great review, man. That was funny. When we originally saw that one, we just all cracked up, messaged each other. So funny. Yeah, that's pretty dang funny. We appreciate that. drop us a line, leave us a message. And, of course, check out how Shane's doing on his carrying bridge, which kind of gives you kind of insight into what's going on. And drop him a note. He appreciates all that. Oh, we should say he got quite a nice gift.
Oh, yes.
We almost forgot to mention that.
So Bithead 1000 on YouTube, if you go and look at his artwork of the Friday the 13th,
yeah.
Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, he makes videos. We recommended him before, so we won't go too much into it. But every once in a while, he'll do some really cool, he loves box art and things like that. And he
made this super cool pixel art.
Yeah, very cool super pixel art, like legit, use man tools to do all this. Not working with styrofoam like some of these wimps.
Yeah, but he made that because Shane's favorite game is Friday the 13th for the NES.
Yeah.
And actually sent that big thing to Shane.
Yeah.
So you should go and look at that on YouTube, and it's very much appreciated by Bithead.
Yeah, that was really nice of him. It was a great surprise for Shane. Shane texted us like he was a 10-year-old boy, so he obviously really appreciated that. He was going crazy,
like the N64 kid.
Yeah,
present.
And I mean, that probably 10 seconds of his bliss where he just forgot about everything in life and just got super happy. And when I went to his house, I got to see it too, so it was really cool. And but that was really neat, and obviously it's his favorite game, and that's a great community, great guys, always helping each other out. We really Adam and I and Shane too, we're really appreciative that for us being recently new, we've only got 16 episodes, we've only been around 3/4 of a year, and we've had quite a nice audience feedback and a great listener count that we are more than surprised with, and just all the messages you drop, even if criticism, whatever, we really, appreciate the time you take to do that. Yeah. Preach that. I'll continue to do it because we do. So thanks a lot. You can find us. What's our Gmail?
It's videogamedads@yahoo.com.
Christmas. We're dying. The last break, we looked at each other like, oh, we're running on fumes. It's been a long week, and it's kind of late. We ran a little long, but we'll bring you another one next week, too. Our Twitter is @videogamedads. You can find us at facebook.com/videogamedads.
Yep.
Thanks a lot. Great Sweet 16. Pretty soon. What's 17? We are able to smoke?
No, there's nothing cool about 17.
Nothing. I thought 17 you could smoke.
No, there's a magazine. I think you maybe in some states.
Oh, is it 18 usually?
Yeah, I think it's 18.
Oh, okay. Also, you shouldn't smoke. What are we talking about?
Yeah, it's bad for you.
Terrible for you. Forget we said it.
All right.
Oh, magazines. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. There's 17 magazine, if that's a real thing. Do people still read magazines? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I thought you meant you could get the magazine that has the shade over the cover of it.
Oh, no. I think that's 18 or 21. I'm not sure even what the rules on that
We don't know. Do people even buy that anymore? It's called the internet, I guess.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. Magazines don't really exist. I mean, except Game Informer, which is now by GameStop to sell you games.
Yeah, and we even had a whole freaking episode devoted to magazines early on. All right, guys, thanks a lot. This is a wrap. We will see you again in 1 week. So episode 16 is in the books.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed that music, please check out Evan King on Bandcamp for further details, and you can download some for yourself. Thank you.
Bye-bye.